evening.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
It's not quite evening for me yet. Or maybe it is. I don't know. It's like 4:30.
I can't help it if you don't live in America.
But I do live in America.
No.
Yeah, he does live in America.
Mm.
I ironically don't live in America, but I'm closer to your time zone. Anyway, I'm gonna just wait for me to get our stream going so I can tweet out, and then we're good to go. Oh, there it is. There it is, showing up on my sub box. How convenient.
How is everyone doing today?
Superb.
I am alive.
All right. Make sure I
How?
spelt Riftyfell correct. I did. It's a miracle.
How are you feeling, Squee?
How are you?
Alive.
Allah. Okay.
I'm good. Well enough.
Cool.
Good. So speaking of people who are not doing well, or who are doing well, or whatever, Criana will not be joining us because she is feeling poor right now. So we are down one soldier, but that's okay. We shall carry on. So before we get started, all official and shit. Do you guys have any questions for me? Any rule discrepancies? Any descriptions? Anything that you are confused or wondering about?
I think I got my question out of the way.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
I think I'm good.
I think I only want to say this one thing, and I am so glad I am so glad that we were able to get a book with exorcism in it, because otherwise I have absolutely no idea where we would be at right now.
Well, you should thank Neela for that. She had mind power.
God, that was like, I don't know if anybody knows this episode. I was telling Squee this earlier, but there's an episode of The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. And
Okay.
Billy got turned into chocolate through means,
Oh.
and he was searching for a cure, and down where, like, I guess the chocolate people live, they're like, there is a way to do this, but you have to pass this trial. And they actually open up a box, and he starts pointing out, like, chocolate bars, going like, now choose wisely. This is horrific hazelnut, malicious marshmallow, catastrophic caramel, and then the last one's like, or antidote. I'm like, this is exactly how I felt when looking at the book.
And antidote. There we go. I know. I really had to sell it, right? I could have started with exorcism. I'm like, no. I'll say
You could have slid that in like the 4th spot.
or the middle, but no. I wanted to put it at the end, just for weight, just for that. Okay. Shall we start? Oh wait, no. Let's show some pictures first before we start with the session.
Yes. There has been plenty of pictures that has happened. There's one from Criana. She has fully colored it. She was drawing this during our last session, and it looks marvelous. Look at his skull. I like the square in the background. It's a pretty nice square.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone is looking at the square and
Look at
definitely
that
not
square.
at circles. Yeah.
It's nuts. Alright. But yeah, it looks like a lot of people like that picture. And then there's one, the person has been doing a comic book like thing. Drew our kind of like opening like group picture.
Yeah, the group shot that we had, the first group shot that we had, the first thumbnails that we used. Yeah.
And this.
This.
I love this. This is a very, very far back time when we started these sessions. Patrick and Mila was tasked to rescue a cat, and this is what happened during that.
And I mentioned this on Twitter, but I love the details of because Jay Canna drew this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they paid so much attention to the session itself, right? Because there's details like not only like is Mila wearing a dress over her pants because that's what she did that time that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the rock. But even look at fucking mittens. I remember I described the cat as being an orange cat with white front paws because they look like mittens, right? And sure enough, that cat is like just everything to the detail. Like they paid attention to everything I said, and it couldn't be like more representative than it currently is. It's just superb.
It's fantastic.
Yes, mittens, I need you to hold on to the rope. The cat is so done.
It reminds me of the Criana with her face hanging going, oh!
Yep.
And one from Glass Rose of Mila and Alicia braiding Al's hair.
And surprise, surprise, Mila's not wearing any pants.
What?
I know.
She does
I'm
that?
amazed.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, right. I'm sure.
Right.
Sure.
So back
All
to
right.
game.
Back to the game. Well, thank you everyone who drew that, and thank you very much, Piffy, for showcasing it for us and for streaming for us too. So, when we last left off, the party was well, I won't do a full synopsis, right? I'll just really kind of continue the last little scene. Now, if I remember correctly, you guys wanted Valone to use your goggles. You're going to give him those three-eyed goggles that you got from Newzoot long ago, and more recently from your Golden Place kind of pocket dimension. You're going to give him the goggles. You're going to say, go to Killian with these on. You'll see exactly what we mean, right? As a way to prove that, to completely prove to Valone that it is Killian who's possessed and you guys aren't behind it whatsoever, right? And to get him on your side to help with this supposed exorcism that you're planning to do. Now, Al and Patrick have been meticulously and feverishly, thanks to the dream mushrooms to kind of give them a boost in energy and awake time, been trying to practice this ritual and learn it for this final showdown to purge Killian of this possessing entity. We're on the fourth day since you first found the possession entity. And I'll say right now that you guys have about 30 hours left to learn. All right? So you'll be about halfway through day 5. So halfway through tomorrow, and you will have known the exorcism ritual and the spell. Both Al and Patrick, barring any sort of interruptions. Okay? And we ended last session with you telling Killian to come aboard, collect the goggles, and then find out for himself. Am I correct in all of this?
I believe.
Yes, I think so. I can't think of anything you're not correct in.
Yes,
Okay.
the part it wasn't Killian, it was Valone.
Oh, sorry, Valone's going to come on board. And get
No,
the
we
goggles.
invited Killian.
No.
Ha 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 ha. All right. But it is Valone that's coming. Sorry.
Yes.
All right. I think when I did that last little sentence, I did misspeak, so my bad. All right. So this is what I'm thinking. All right. I'm thinking we could start the session off we can just narratively say Valone will come on board, get the goggles from you. You'll show him, how to wear it, how to use it. It's very simple. You just put them on, right? It's a little awkward with the third eye in the center where there is no actual eye. He only has two, like everyone else.
Mhm.
But and then he would depart, and you would see the Razor's Kiss dock with the Minor Innocents, and then later on you would see the Razor's Kiss undock towards the Minor Innocents, and then come back towards you. Is that okay by everybody, or do you guys want to have a specific roleplay with Valone as he comes to pick up the goggles?
Well, I can definitely roleplay, but I have nothing in particular in mind.
Okay, great. I want to give you guys the choice, right?
Yeah, I also don't think there's anything.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Anything really pressing that you want to mention or anything like that? Okay, great. So then let's just do exactly what I just said. So we'll start this session proper with the Razor's Kiss coming back from the Minor Innocents after a period of approximately a short period of time. It's only been about 50 minutes, actually, not even a full hour. And sure enough, the Razor's Kiss, let's say requests to dock, but that's more of a formality. It does dock with you, whether you want to or not. But sure enough, once the airlock's open, you just see Valone there with the goggles in his hand. His lips are tightly pressed, and his eyes are sharp and kind of squinted. And he thrusts the goggles into Patrick's hand, and he says, "You're right. I went to speak with Killian, like you suggested. At first he asked me what the hell these things were. I implied that I stole them from you. I just gave some vague explanations saying that you guys were talking about using these goggles to see something within Killian, and I decided to relieve them from you. I can't let Killian, whether he is or he isn't possessed at the time that I thought, I couldn't let him know that I was working in cahoots. After all, Killian was very adamant that you're still behind whatever's been going on with him. So I passed through that white lie, and I asked him to just humor me. And by the end of this, I would be absolutely certain that of what to do next. And if I didn't see anything, then that would be the end of my investigation. So I put on the goggles, and we spoke for a while, not necessarily about what's been going on with him, but what's been going on the ground. How Nocturn has been handling things, rumors, gossip amongst the network, something. Talked for a good 10 minutes or so, and I didn't see a damn thing. He was no glow, no sign, nothing. It was just Killian as if I had the goggles on or goggles off. I remember near the end of the conversation, as our small talk was trailing off, he asked me if I ended up seeing anything through these goggles of yours. And I truthfully told him no. And as I was going to take them off, he asked me in a very careful way what I planned on doing next. And that's when I saw it. It was so subtle. Behind the eyes, the blacks of his eyes, I saw something move. It was a blue streak that swirled behind there. For a moment I thought it was a trick in my eyes, but it happened again. And I don't know how to explain it, But seeing that, I could also feel it in a way. And I knew there was something behind Killian. I paused. God. I paused for what must have only been 2 or 3 seconds, but it felt like an eternity, figuring out what to reply back to him. Killian was compromised. He is still compromised from what I can understand. And, but I couldn't let him know. So, I told him the only thing that would appease him, what would appease that thing too. I reiterated that since I didn't see anything, that the story that you guys told me just didn't add up. And that I was going to give Nocturn a full debriefing, and we would take the most drastic of precautions to protect him in the future of this expedition. They were all lies, but now I need to know. No more vague assumptions, no more hopeful promises, no more stammering. I want to know what you found in that book. I want to know what you're going to do to help Killian. And more importantly, I need to know how much longer it can take. Nocturne, Samantha, she's continuing to ask me for debriefings, and I'm not able to tell her much, if anything at all. All right? She sees Killian is completely of a sound mind. She's seeing the problems that are happening on the surface with the canal line surveys. And she's seeing that my investigation, for lack of a better word, is going nowhere. Eventually, she's going to have to talk to Killian herself, and the second she does, he is going to ask what I'm doing to you guys. I've started the ball rolling, and now I need to know what our options are. And when he gets to the end of this phrase, his eyes are much wider now, and he has this look of desperation towards you guys. When you first met him, he had the air of a man who was in complete and utter control of himself and of the situation. Now he looks like a man who is desperate for help.
So, if Killian is not manning the cameras, then we can talk fairly freely.
Yeah, Valone says, as Robbie looks up to one of the cameras, they're just data loggers. They're not allowed to make a decision unless they think there's a direct mutiny. And this ain't a mutiny. That's for damn sure. We're here to save the commander, not to usurp him.
So, what we found is a book of spells. Old, ragged, but a few of its contents inside seems to be still fully intact and legible. One of them, to our... thanks to Mila, that book that she had a vision about.
Yeah, I was there for that.
That has the solution. We are still learning the spell, but it is something called Al, you want to describe this?
Al looks unsure at Patrick and then says, well, it's called an exorcism.
And Valone kind of scrunches his brow a little bit and goes, exorcism. Sounds familiar. There's remember when I was a kid, I watched an old pre-flash vid flick about that. About some kid that was possessed by a devil. You saying it's like the same thing?
Without seeing the movie, I couldn't be sure. But
yeah. If it has the title of exorcism, it might have some glimpsing of it, but in general, we're trying to take a possessing being and remove it from its host.
Okay. All right, good. And then once it's removed, you can kill it, right?
In theory, it can die, but this is more of a get it to leave spell.
Leave? Leave where?
The immediate area and a general compass around that area, and it will seemingly fly far away to some other place or thing where it will most likely take control of somebody else. Mind you, I'm not extremely familiar with the spell, but from what I've read, we should be fine. There is a catch, though.
What's the catch?
When the spell is active, it will struggle. Even if we completely surprise Killian with the spell or ritual, depending on which we use, we're hoping to use the more surefire ritual one, which will take some time. The entity will most likely try to latch out, let's just say within a room or two around where we cast the spell, to latch onto somebody else in a desperate struggle to keep.
So you're saying we have to isolate Killian?
Yes. If done correctly and with the best case scenario, it will be myself, Al, and him. And within a isolated area. As you can tell, that's not the easiest thing to do. But it is by far the safest.
See, he says. Well, I got two ideas on that front. Because if you guys need access to Killian, then there's no way in hell Killian's going to be coming aboard on this ship, possessed or no. I don't have the flack to tell the pilot of the Minor Innocents to board with your ship for no apparent reason. Nocturn is still the overall commander, plus she's left her second in command, Eve Fisher, in charge of the ship, and me and Eve don't really get along all that great. Which means I bring you aboard the Minor Innocents, or we do this on Mars's surface.
Well, I have a question. And you know Nocturne better than we do, but she assigns you to this investigation, which means she must trust your judgment, at least to a very great extent. What if we told her the truth? Your findings?
Valone gives a pained expression and looks back to you. You're right. Nocturne, Miss Riley, and myself, we trust each other completely. There's a lot of trust there. But my trust has also been placed on Killian, who broke his silence contract, and on you, people from Earth who broke containment. If we go to Nocturne with the truth, then I know her, you're right. And if I were in her place, it would be very simple. take out Killian for breaking his silence contract, and then destroying you because you broke containment. She would wrestle control of this situation.
So there's no way to maybe leave those details out? Say that she already knows that we're experts of the canals. She already knows that. What if we simply didn't tell them that Killian broke his sacred clause and tell them that we convinced you through our expertise that this is what's happening?
Falcone says, sweet words aren't going to be enough to convince her. She wanted me to find the truth, and I have to bring proof of that. The only proof that we have is your magic and the recordings on this Rhapsody. Showing her the recordings implies that Killian broke his silence contract, because I sure as shit didn't know about this before I found out and he told me. And telling her about any of this magic stuff instantly exposes you.
Then Al says, thinking about it, we tell her about the recordings. We're under no such clause. We could tell her about the recordings without anyone breaking any clauses to anything. We can work on the magic. Say it's some sort of mutation. There's got to be a way we can...
No, he says that is not a mutation. There'll be recordings of him summoning a fucking bird out of nowhere. Nocturn isn't stupid. Don't you see? She's going to put 2 and 2 together. You tell her about the recordings, she's going to ask herself, who decided to put the recordings? Who has authorization of the recordings? She's going to want to see the recordings, and I can't show her the recordings without saying I got authorization, the authorization codes from Killian. And the second, he says, it's everyone in orbit's duty. For the second they realize that they are dealing with alien or earthling phenomenon, to expunge it or to appeal to authorities who can expunge it quickly. It's too risky.
Okay.
We have to keep up the charade in order to save Killian.
You made your point. Though it might be good at the very least to come up with it as a final alternative if Ellos fails. There's got to be ways. Simply put, they might want to expunge us, but if they know that the Baron knows and doesn't want us expunged, I know, not exactly the best strategy, but we have to cover all our bases. What if we can't get to Killian? What if we can't get to Mars? What if the only way to do this is through her cooperation? It is something that should be considered, even if as a last resort.
Falcone says, you know, I have 2 names, little nicknames for Samantha Riley that doesn't involve Nocturne. Sometimes I call her Honey, sometimes I call her Vinegar, right? Because you've talked with her. Her honey side is when she tries to deal with personnel problems, right? Tries to talk things out with people, find the diplomatic route. But she is a very skilled network captain, and she's proved it already considerably on the 4-month journey there. If people don't listen to reason, if they don't take the honey that she offers, then she gives them vinegar, and she is as ruthless as anyone else aboard this orbit of this planet. I think a better last-ditch effort is for all just to kill ourselves, because at least that will be quick and painless.
Al raises an eyebrow. You know, I'm not suggesting that you don't have a point, but that's a very pessimistic point of view from a man of your nature.
Oh, how much of my nature do you know, Al? We only met ourselves a few days ago.
I know that you're very, very good at finding a way to get the information you need. And that means, by its very nature, that if forced, I'm sure you could be very, very good about doing the opposite. I agree. We try to get him.
Valcone,
Sorry, go ahead.
yes, sir. Now, Valcone will cross his arms, and he won't let you continue. And he'll look over to Tom, who's nearby, I hope, and he says, "It's my understanding that you're romantically involved with Miss Blanco, Janina.
Yeah?
Have you lied to her?
No?
Okay. What if you had to lie to her? How would that feel?"
Really shitty.
Yeah. Yeah. Really shitty. It's not easy for me to deceive Samantha. Not even close. But I have to do it in order not only to save all our asses, by the way, but for that other reason that you just mentioned, Al. I need to find out the truth. And now that I have found out the truth, I can't let this thing take Killian. And God knows what it'll do to the rest of us. It has to be stopped.
I think we're misunderstanding each other here. I agree that it would be a bad idea, now that you mention it, to bring it up to Nocturne. But I like to look at things from all the angles, and if it comes time, if we are forced, we have to give up something, it would probably be better not to try and come with it off the cuff on the fly.
So you want to prepare a lie ahead of time? Valcone says with a bit of a smirk.
Al raises an eyebrow again and says, "You might find that funny, but I come from a place where people have entire courses on such a thing. Yes,
Okay.
I want to
Okay.
prepare a lie in case."
Okay. All right. So, while we spend all this time preparing the perfect lie, explaining each and every reason why we have recordings, or the Baron has provided recordings, or whatever, definitely Killian wasn't involved, and to explain away all this magic doodah, prove to her that it's possessed by talking about magic, but not really talking about magic, right? Talking about mutations, right? And you want to explain all this stuff and still pass it off as you not being from Earth. Problem is that Nocturne knows as much about you guys as I did when I first met you, when I first came aboard this ship to do my interrogations. You are unknowns. You have no record. You have no orbital record. You have no place of birth, no official place of birth. You came out of nowhere. Now, people with the Baron's influence sometimes hide that, right? For people who are definitely important enough. But it's enough to raise enough flags. And besides, Patrick just said that you and he are working on this exorcism thing. Do you want to spend your time crafting a lie? Or preparing that... and he says the words as if it's ashes in his mouth. Spell.
You're acting like the two are mutually exclusive. I am not suggesting that we sit down and have a committee about it. I am simply pointing out that it is a possibility, and to ignore it or to pretend it doesn't exist is foolish.
Falcone will lean back and say, "All right, then, I'm all ears."
Al shakes his head and he goes,
Tell you
"Obvious."
what, pretend I'm Nocturne. Say you want what you want to say to me to prove to me that you're not the ones behind why Killian has been going nuts, and how he is possessed by something.
Al shakes his head. He goes, "If I knew Nocturne well enough to know that, I wouldn't be asking you, would I?"
Good. Mm-hmm. Good. All right. Well then, he kind of gives a bit of a sigh. There are just so many pieces, though, Al, that need to be explained away. Let's start first at forget about all the magic stuff that you have. Let's forget about the recordings, all right? Let's prove to her the same thing that you just proved to me, which was Killian is possessed by something, because that's going to be the real hard thing to convince her of, to go along with what you guys have in mind, right? How do we convince Nocturne? She is a rational woman. She, like everyone else, doesn't believe in magic fairy tales and believes in mutations and space phenomena. All right? That has some form of scientific basis. So how are we going to convince her that something from a vid movie, similar to a vid movie, is inside Killian controlling his every move? How do we do that? We can't show her we can't have her put on the goggles and look, because we'd have to explain the goggles.
Al shrugs. I was hoping that since she knew that this was a possibility when she assigned you to the case, she would trust your judgment. I simply pointed out, hopefully, that if we came to her with your conclusions, she would be receptive.
I've given her as much as I can already. The reason why you guys have been given this leeway to continue to assist with the ground missions with the canal survey is because of things that I told her. I tell her, remember the Sino-Japanese station incident, right? I tell her that we're dealing with things and ley lines that we're not too sure about, right? But my words of caution is not proof. Evidence. She needs something substantial before she can make a full-on decision. I can't just go to her as her friend, as her subordinate, as the person that she entrusted to find out the truth and say, take my word for it. I need to give her a full debriefing. I need to walk her through everything that I have found out to prove what I'm saying is true.
Okay. Obviously, that would take time, and it's not best focused on here. I agree with that.
Okay. So, now that we know Nocturne is not a reliable avenue of a solution, let me go back to the point. You two, at the very least, need access to Killian, correct?
Yes. For
Okay.
at least 10 minutes.
All right. So, like I said, you want someplace isolated. I could either take you to Nocturne's quarters where he is still, and you'd have to get aboard the ship, or we have Killian go on the surface of Mars for whatever reason. Maybe we trick him, we tell him one thing or another, but we get Killian onto Mars, or I bring you to him. Unless there's another option here that I'm not seeing. Those are the two likely conclusions that, meet your recommendation, meet your prerequisites of an isolated area without other people around so you guys can do your ritual thing.
How soundproof is where he is right now? If he were to yell for help, would others hear him?
Yeah, it's a possibility, he says. It's not completely soundproof. It'd be muffled considerably, but if he screams loud enough and someone passes on by, there's potential. Or if he manages to get onto her intercom.
Well, no matter what we do, we're going to have to find some sort of way to restrain him. Patrick and I aren't going to be able to defend ourselves while we're trying to set up this ritual. And the more people that are there, the more people that are in danger.
This gets even better and better. Valone says. He says, not only am I involved with people who broke containment and dealing with Killian's secrets, but now we're going to have to subdue the commander of this entire Mars operation.
Patrick looks slightly upset towards nothing in particular, but he does look frustrated at something. Probably a memory of something.
Mm-hmm.
Al nods and he goes, I don't know as much as Patrick does about this thing, but I can only imagine it's had thousands of years to get good at what it does. This is not going to be easy no matter what we try to do.
Okay. So how do you want us to subdue him? Do we have to hurt Killian at all?
There are plenty of ways to allow for seclusion. A pre-set-up ritual may be able to help us with the time.
I can definitely hold him still, though we'd need line of sight on him, which means that his head would still be free.
Oh, you gonna put him in a sleeper hold? Valcone says.
Not quite. I have the ability to create let's call it a carpet that I can wrap around someone to prevent them from moving. It's harmless as far as physical damage or anything is concerned. It simply restrains them. If I can get him unaware, it's a lot better than trying to knock him senseless or anything of that kind.
It's also a literal carpet. Just want to point that out.
May I suggest something else? If we are able to set up and prepare and start the ritual, I believe the being only needs to be there when it is fully casted. So, if timed right, if put into an area that he's unaware that we've already set all this up, that should work fairly well. Is there similar to an interrogation room where somebody can be seated?
No, we don't. The Minor Innocence is not equipped with official interrogation room. We just use either offices or other areas, and we isolate them. We use that for our interrogations.
Okay.
Patrick, and this is actually more of a question for the GM, I guess, but Patrick, how visible will the preparations of this ritual be? And how long beforehand can we prepare it?
It'll be I'm going to let you know as the GM. The physical prerequisites is a wide circle of salt. At least 10 feet radius, so 20 feet in diameter.
Would we know?
Unbroken salt.
Can it be covered by dirt as
Nope.
long as it's unbroken?
It must be exposed to the air.
Okay. Got it.
Covering it with dirt isn't really salt. It's just dirt and salt. You know what I mean?
Dirt
It
and
has
salt,
to be
yeah,
pure
yeah.
salt. Yeah.
Then I guess Al would say at that point, he would say, it's going to be difficult to get him into a ring of salt without him seeing it. And it would be best to assume this thing knows what an exorcism is.
So you're saying Killian can't consciously go into this ritual?
I think so.
If his sleeping quarters is...
His sleeping quarters are on the Razor's Kiss.
There's too many people there. If he has sleeping quarters, even touching another one... Well, there's a slightly less safe option. It's quicker, but no guarantee that it won't latch on to someone else in the direct area, or just go right back into Killian.
Heads up, Piph, the exorcism spell is if it's purged from the person, it can't go back into the person. So, just want to correct you on that
Okay.
statement that you made.
So if it does go out, okay.
It'll try to grab a hold of somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it gets 2 attempts at possession. The exorcism contagion protects the person who its original victim was. Oh no, at a plus 12, so it is possible. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
my bad.
So let's see. We'd either need to knock him out, which is a feat on to itself.
How so?
I'm assuming most eyes are going to be on us in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
And if not on us, Killian. If not on either one of them,
Valone says, I can't believe I'm suggesting this, but you're right. Eyes will be on Killian. Eyes will be on you. Eyes might not be on me.
Okay. If we were to... We would need to come up with a plan. You don't have any of your knockout or sleep or paralysis serums.
Hang on, I think I do. Let me check real quick. I have a compute drug dispenser. What does it have? Keep going while I look that up, if you don't mind.
Okay. If we have any of those, we can give you that. I don't know the situation, nor do I know how to administer such things myself. Al might be able to tell you a bit more about it. If that doesn't work,
Like, are you talking about anesthetizing him?
I have one better than that, actually, Patrick.
Hmm?
I have a chem spray.
Chem spray.
Hmm.
That little device that I was going to try and get installed on the power armor, brought it with me. I've got chemical sprays for sleep, tear gas, mace.
Sleep would work.
Mm-hmm.
So you just gotta spray him in the face and then he's out like a light. Alright?
I also do have the injection version too, 2 doses worth, but that's more difficult. And if all else fails, I've got a neuroblade.
You're not gonna stab Killian.
Al shakes his head.
Absolutely necessary.
Al shakes his head. No, this knife is... You can flick a switch to have it deliver a neural shock, which has a high chance of knocking out or incapacitating a target. It doesn't do any permanent damage, but like a stun baton, yes.
Okay. Well, if I had to be put under, I'd rather just have a little spray in my face, a little bit of confusion before it's a night out for me. Anything that leaves less bruises on Killian will be easier to explain when and if all this is over.
Oh, I would not know anything else that I could give you to knock out Killian.
It's fine, he says. He's obviously a little upset over this whole concept, but he pushes forward and he says, "All right, so I knock him out, but where? In his room? I just say, 'Hey, Killian, how's it going?' Spray, out he goes, then in comes you into Nocturn's room to do your ritual."
Whew. If it's away from everyone else, that would be a pretty good spot. If...
Well, maybe we should find the location first before we continue on with any other plan.
Yes. Secluded area. Well, there's a lot of space out on Mars, but I'm sure that he's going to be traveling with others. Or...
Besides, Valone says it's hard to spray a guy in the face if he's wearing a helmet.
Very true. So it'd have to be on a ship of some kind.
Not necessarily. If we're on Mars, like I said, I can use the carpet. That'll hold him for about 10 minutes.
I don't know too much about Mars or the area that we're going to, but I assume that having it stuck to sand will not really do much.
Al shakes his head. I'm just going to have it wrap around him like a giant roll. Hard to move when everything's pressed against yourself. I've used it in the past. It's been very effective.
I'll take your word for it, Valone says.
That is another option. But then we would have to be there with him, uninterrupted, for 10 minutes. And, I'm not quite sure. On Mars, he has radioed frequently to check for updates. A lack of that might be alarming.
But he's not the commander anymore, at least not for now. His privileges have been suspended, only temporarily until everything gets figured out and they've been transferred over to Nocturn.
Alright. And if we want to do what we need to do on Mars, we have to do it away from everyone else's eyes, which is another problem. Do you know where or how we can get him away?
Are you looking to Valone when you ask that? Or just
Yes. I would be doing it the Valone specifically.
Valone pauses for a moment and he says, well, you can always lie to him. Before we left, the reason why we're pressed for time, the reason why all this, the ball has started to drop, so to speak, is because I told Killian, and that thing inside Killian, that my next steps were to bring you guys to Nocturn, to adequately punish you, or more specifically, to negate the threat. So maybe I tell him we're just about to do that. Lie to him, tell him that the investigation is complete. He's free to go. We're about to dispense a little bit of, network justice.
I think that may work. From what I hear from the last time we talked with the entity, he seems to revel in others' pain. This might be
Really?
tempting enough.
Especially if you point out to Killian that it would be his choice how we're dealt with.
Yeah. The Valone says that's true. Because in this lie, I tell him he's the commander again, so he can decide exactly what to do with you.
In fact, if we felt it was better to get him off for whatever reason, we could even come up with an idea that perhaps we've run off to Mars, but you know exactly where we are because you're better than us, and Killian is back in command, and you might suggest to him that, hey, why don't you come with me and let's deal with him personally.
Patrick is shaking his head.
Yeah, Valone kind of gives a bit of a wince, but he lets Patrick talk first.
Once you tell him that he's in command and that we've run, he is a cautious man and will bring others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it seems like you've run, he's gonna hire, get a bunch of those freebooters and start chasing you.
All right.
But no, Valone says, but there is a brig on the Razor's Kiss, and there is a brig on the Minor Innocence. I could always lead him there. That's isolated, and that has thick plating.
And we are going to be captured. Or,
Yeah.
excuse me, detained. Captured, seems.
Detained, yeah. Or this ship, I could tell him that... No, that's too risky, he says. Valone then explains. I was about to say, maybe if you powered off your systems, make it seem that we cut off all controls to your ship and have him board with me. But that's the same problem with running on Mars. Is he'll either blast the Rhapsody just to be safe, or he'll organize an entire boarding crew. No, we gotta be more subtle about this.
Is anyone else in your brig?
No. No, he says, he gives a bit of a smirk. We had an incident 4 weeks ago with Virginia Blackeye, but she's now paying off the rest of her petty crimes with manual labor without pay.
Well, I believe this is probably the best solution. We get detained, and we get taken here, and you somehow lead him into the brig for a chat or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Knock him out. We also can do a few things to try to hold him. The carpet still leaves his vocal capabilities intact, and we'll probably try to yell out for somebody. Maybe not that one. But as long as we can take salt, and we need a bit of time before we can fully understand how to do this particular spell, then we have a pretty good shot.
Yeah, Valone scratches underneath his lip and he says, yeah, I know some of the security personnel, so I'm pretty sure I could buy enough time, make sure you're not interrupted in the brig. I'm gonna do my best at the very least.
This should work. Al, are you okay with this?
Yeah, I'm okay with this. Do you think maybe we could start setting up the ritual before he comes, or too risky?
It is fairly risky. Noticing it at all may give some inkling about what we're doing, or it being disturbed will have it reset anyway.
I have another out-of-game question for you guys. How much PPE do either of you have? Both of you have.
I have 58 or 56.
Okay.
Hang on, let me check. Be sure. One of those two. Sorry.
I have 59.
Okay. You guys have yourselves another bit of a problem. Minor problem. The spell costs 30 PPE. The ritual costs 60 PPE.
Right. You said though, if we did it together, we could lend PPE towards the spell.
Exactly, but then you're lending PP towards the spell. You're not casting the spell as well. You're a part of the ritual, which opens up your personal PPE base to the primary spellcaster, but you don't become the spellcaster as well. So it will be weaker. Still stronger than the spell version, but the ritual. See, if you both had 60 PPE, or both were able to get 60 PPE, right? Then both of you would be casting the ritual together, really strengthening it, right? But now what's really happening is that both of you are a part of the ritual, but one's a spellcaster, one's a PPE battery.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's a question. I've never thought about this before. My PPE, like 56. Is that the max I can hold? Could I draw in more? Like, let's say I drew in some from Tom, or would I could I
Tom was there
temporarily?
for the ritual. No, you can't keep any more. It's not like you're not a battery, right? So
Right.
you can't draw from Tom right now, hold it, and then no. The
Got it.
most your body can hold is 56 or 58, whatever you have, right?
Okay.
So, but if Tom was a part of the ritual, right, or if a ley line was a part of the ritual, then you guys would have tons of PPE.
And just being a PPE battery doesn't protect us at all from the demon, right? We'd have to be
No.
casting it.
You have to be casting it, yes.
Just in case this does come up, I only have 5 people.
I know, but well,
We were just using you as an example.
Well,
I
here's my-
know. I'm just useless in this kind of situation.
Here's what I'm thinking. In this instance, it might be better, Piph, if you and I just both cast the spell at the same time. That way, we're both protected. Less chance individually, but probably a greater chance overall. Plus, let's say you cast the ritual. I'm your PPE battery. I am prime real estate for possession.
Okay, this is how I think the numbers work. If ritual, then the man that is getting affected by this has a 12 plus to being resistant to possession.
No. It's a 12 plus of the demon resisting it. Sorry, of the possession. And now you guys have me calling it a demon. The possession entity resisting it. He's saving versus the spell.
Okay.
And then once he fails his save, he's out, right? Then he starts trying to... He has 2 shots of trying to possess other things.
Okay. So that needs to work, then he starts possessing. Then the spellcaster of the spell gains a plus 6.
Yes.
We do also have a circlet that gives a plus 6. So we would have
Correct.
equal footing if the spellcaster did not wear it and the battery did.
Good point. Yeah, that's true. And we'd have the same protection as if we both cast an individual spell at the same time. So the ritual is a 12 to save, and the spell is a what to save?
No, the spell is a 12 to save. The ritual is a 16 to save.
Okay, Piph, I think our best option would be for probably Patrick to cast the spell, Al to wear the circlet and act as a energizer.
All right.
A Duracell. I just want to ask a really quick question of the GM
Yeah,
to see if this would actually work or not.
sure.
Mind block. This does not affect, possessions or anything, right?
Let me double check. And read the description.
I can read it for you loud if you want.
No need. I'm almost there at the page anyway. And besides, actually, no, I have it here. It's okay. No, it prevents against empathy, telepathy.
Hypnotic suggestion and empathetic transfer.
Yep, not possessions.
I was asking because you intentionally close yourself to supernatural or psychic forces. So that's why I wanted to double check. But anyways, yeah, I've got nothing, guys. So, I mean...
Yeah, I guess there is interpretation, but I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, it makes sense. But what should I do anything with this? Do I have to roll?
Protect yourself. Before
You
wrap
may
yourself
not
in
want to be around when this goes off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if the plan is going to be have us all in the brig, there's no real option for me to not be there.
It's
Hmm?
a lie.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
yeah.
It's a lie.
We-
Valcone's gonna say everyone's in the brig.
Either that, or Valcone could even say that he separated us because he feared what we might do if we're all together in the same place.
Ah, yeah. That's even more likely, actually.
I also have a question for you guys.
Tell me.
16.
Would you be opposed to doing this? What if we were to somehow sneak the bag onto the ship so that when you guys are in the brig, you, Valcone, and you both, Valcone, and damn it, I'm blanking on his name.
Killian.
Killian. You were to take everybody into the Golden Place and hold it there.
Yeah.
And perform the ritual there, because then it's a different dimension. And if it were to be gone, it's gone. I mean, it's in a different dimension, not in this dimension. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes, except for the simple fact that whenever we go to the Golden Room, we'll have to worry about trying to get possessed by an entity that's still hanging out there.
I will say this. This is how I think is going to happen. He gets basically the giant urge to not be there anymore. He leaves the front door and goes right back into the ship.
Well, he can't really leave the front door if he's in a carpet of adhesion.
Well, the demon wouldn't be.
No, the
That's
entity.
the entity.
Yeah.
Oh. I thought the entity was bound to... Oh, yeah.
That's the whole point of the exorcism is to unbind them.
Well, fuck. Okay, never mind then. Because I was thinking of like, well, it's on another ship with a whole bunch of people. It could just go to a different person and we're in the same fucking thing again. Oh well.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to read the spell closely for a second. For the hottest of seconds, but let's see.
But
we're talking.
I do
about...
think that's probably our best bet.
Yeah, I do think that is a pretty good one. If the exorcism spell literally just kind of went like 2 feet to another person, like in the ship, they'd be like, "What the fuck? Why is this even a thing?" Stupid exorcism. Doesn't even
Oh,
get
while
rid
this
of
is
a
going on-
exorcism.
Can I have a small interaction with Valcone?
Sure, yeah, definitely.
You asked earlier if this would be kind of like that one movie that you were talking about that you saw when you were a kid. Was it
Yeah.
a little girl that had her head spin around and she puked everywhere?
Yeah. He says, yeah, that gave me nightmares for like 3 weeks.
Yeah. That was a part of one of the movies that the Baron was able to lend us.
Oh, so you
So
know
you-
exactly what I'm talking
It'll be very much like that.
about. So like
Al-
chanting and waving things around and that sort of ritual, yeah.
Yeah,
Al looks
pretty
at
much.
Tom. God, I hope he doesn't turn his head around and puke.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna be there, so you're gonna have to deal with it.
Patrick looks
It's
up
like-
from studying the books and notes and goes, it says nothing in the description about doing such things. Slowly goes back to reading the book.
Al and Patrick share a long look.
Dude, magic just goes way over my head. I light things on fire. I don't know. End scene.
Oh,
Okay, so we have a plan then.
yes. Before I read into this, is it okay if I read the exorcism spell?
Sure, read it aloud so everyone can see it.
Yeah, exorcism is a powerful magic force.
Hold up
For-
a second, you missed a part. A very small part. but give me a moment.
Uh,
Because people in chat are asking about this too.
what?
The range,
30.
saving throw, standard 12 by spell or 16 by ritual.
Mhm.
Okay, keep going.
Let's see. The range is 30 feet, which is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The spell lasts for 3 minutes, and at the end of that result, if successful, I assume, results last for 6 months or longer.
Yep.
30 PP, or I assume 60 for the ritual.
Double for the ritual. Yep.
Let's see.
Now you make it.
Exorcism is a powerful magic that forces a possessing supernatural being to relinquish its control over an enslaved person, animal, or object. That's pretty cool. Get out of my shoes. Forced out of its host's body, the evil intelligence will try to possess another human or animal within the immediate area, 30 feet line of vision. So we actually don't need to worry about it being in other rooms and things. Cool.
Yeah, it has to be within line of sight. Exactly.
Horrid thing gets 2 attempts at possession. Fortunately, the exorcism incantation, thank you, protects the person who was the original victim by a bonus of 12 plus to save versus possession, and the mage conducting the exorcism a bonus 6 plus versus possession. Anyone else in the area will have no extra bonus and is in a great peril. If the evil force fails in both of its attempts to take possession of a host's body, a roll a percentage die of the following. This was the interesting part. The evil entity is instantly returned to its own dimension.
On a roll of 1 to 52.
Slightly higher than 50%. Ever so
yeah,
slight.
slightly.
And the roll for the rest of the numbers, 53 to 00, the being will continue to exist in our world, or Mars, I guess, but must immediately flee the area and cannot return for at least 6 months.
Yep.
Apparently, it doesn't really have the immediate area thing is kind of vague, but we'll find out what that means later, I suppose.
Yep.
Note, ritual exorcisms has a greater chance of success. An exorcism can be repeated by the same character on the same person as often as needed. Just be certain that the mage has sufficient PPE. That is exorcism. Hooray.
Okie dokie. So we have a plan. So Valone breaks down the plan with you guys. So once you're ready, I'll come on board. I'll come aboard here, transfer you along on to the minor innocents. Bring you to the brig. A empty brig, if all things go to plan. I go get Killian. I tell him that you've been detained, his command has been reinstated, and first order of business is to figure out what to do with you guys. I lead him to the brig. He shows up. I spray his face with the knockout gas. He goes down. You conduct your ritual, and you get this thing out of its body and you kill it. Or at least make sure it doesn't come back. Right?
Yes, if I understand this correctly.
Good. Okay. Crazy fucking plan, but it's the only one we got, right?
Pretty close to it. All the other ones are too risky, or is a bit risky for the people around.
Okay. So how much longer till you guys, you know this whole ritual thing? You're done practicing and ready to get this thing done. Like I said, we don't have a whole lot of time. I can push, I can lay Nocturne off, not to have her talk with Killian, have her focus on her other command duties for a day. Maybe 2 days, if I'm extra charming. He looks over to Al. But that's it. That's all we got. Because the second she starts talking to them and trusting him, following up, asking too many questions that I don't have answers to, then our whole gig is up.
Right. Well, we were hoping to make sure that we have backups for this. Our time to at least finish this up, we're close to our end, but it may take us that full 1 to 2 days.
Jeez, you guys really know how to cut it close. Alright, the fucking second, you send a radio signal, a single message to this particular frequency, and he jots it down onto a nearby terminal. Alright? This is my personal comm. Actually, it's not really personal. It's a seldom used communication lines that only intelligence officers are privy to. I'm going to be manning my station for most of the time, or checking in for most of the time. You send a signal there, let me know when you're ready. Then I'll come and collect you, and we'll get this whole nightmare over with, hopefully.
I do hope so.
Good. Anything else we need to go over?
I don't think so. I think we've pretty much got it as well as we can.
We need to bring at least salt with us, enough to make a 30-foot ring around us. Would that be a problem?
No. Probably not. Valone says, I think bringing salt is going to be the least risky thing out of this whole endeavor.
Okay. I believe that should be everything.
Good. And with that, Valone will kind of give you guys all a short nod, and he'll head back onto the Razor's Kiss, and it will depart. Now, before we continue on, I'm going to let you know how, we're going to go back down into the day-by-day narration until, the important part happens, or what you prepared for. Before we do that, though, I need to use the little DM's room, so I will be right back.
All right.
I guess I'll take this opportunity to do the same.
And I will say hello to the chat. Hello, chat. I'm done. Hey, Burn. I see you're muted.
Hello, Piph.
Hello. How are you doing today?
I think I'm kind of good.
That's good. So, possession. It's a nasty little thing, isn't it?
Right? It's a session, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, like, I don't know what I'm doing.
See, I mean, like, this is risky business if I tell you one thing or another. Let's see. General powerful entity possessing somebody else that everyone thinks that we're some sort of culprit in actually making him act weirdly because he's fucking possessed. This is not a good situation. I tell you one thing. I wish you could just burn the entity. That'd be great. You're like, I attack the entity with fire. I want that.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. In the words of the Joker, hi.
Did he ever say that?
He did. When he sat down next to Harvey Dent in the hospital.
Oh yeah, he did. Had his cute little nurse outfit. What a
Yeah,
hot piece he had.
Cutest little nurse outfit, yeah. He was adorbs. And crazy.
Yeah. He's just a fantastic character. Like, did you notice when I actually was in that interrogation room that I kept asking for water?
Uh-huh.
That was because of the Joker. I wasn't gonna do anything with it. I just wanted to see if I could get away with it.
Wait, because of the Joker?
Oh yeah, it's the I think it's the, was it Batman Beyond? The future Batman one.
Yeah, Batman Beyond.
There's a part where like he was confronting, I think, Red Skull or something like that, and he was like in handcuffs, and he was surrounded by like basically suits that also had guns and things like that, and he was just like eating potato chips, and he goes, "I like some water."
Oh, that was the movie. That was the Red Mask movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That
now I
one.
remember. He kills people with a glass of water.
Yeah.
Crazy guy. Why you gotta be
That's-
so crazy?
That's one of my favorite lines. Is the I'm gonna need this, and some guys. Not these guys. They're dead.
These guys off. But some other guys.
And then he just starts laughing. Like he's played that straight face right until that time where he made his first joke, and then he just burst out laughing. I love him. He's great.
He was a cool cat.
Oh,
Yeah, trying to
wasn't paying attention until now, but I got rid of another troll. Just saying.
Huh?
Oh, that dude?
Yeah.
He was okay. He just said a lot of swear words.
Why would he do that?
Because he wanted attention. He got it. Congratulations.
Well done.
Hello.
Well
Okie
Hello.
dokie. We good to go?
I think so.
played.
Sure.
Piph sounded unsure.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So let's go through the rest of this day, the fourth day, if that works for you.
Okay.
Okay? So, as mentioned, we'll pass the day, but I'll give you as far as an update as to what's going on at the surface of Mars and what's going on with the other two ships and any other bits of information you might get. Because, once again, you have to continue, as a part of your agreement with Nocturn, to, land from time to time, redistribute pollen emitters, assist with, rotation, that whole thing, right? So you're on the surface of Mars about 3 times during the day, okay? The first time that you land, you come to a very odd sight, for lack of a better word. When both the Minor Innocents and the Rhapsody disembark, they will find 2 groups of scouts and the entire survey team lying on the ground, rolling around, laughing their asses off. Some begin to sing or act silly, and they act as if they are completely and utterly intoxicated. Patrick, Tom, and Al all the second you hit the surface, you feel this rush, this crackling force of magic and psionic energy course through your veins, and you realize that you felt this once before. Actually, no, that's not true. Only Tom has felt this once before. When you were traveling to the hidden temple and you ran afoul of that ley line storm, there's a huge surge of energy. And Tom can still feel the after effects of that energy. It takes about 20 minutes or so for everyone to compose themselves. Many of them acknowledge what happened was very, very strange. Some of them are actually frightful after how they behaved. But soon I guess you could say the structure, or they go back into a sense of normalcy, right? The shift rotations and the procedures, that sort of organizational is a safeguard for them, and eventually they're able to compose themselves and continue on with the mission. Anything you guys want to say or do in comment to that event, or may I continue on with the day's events?
I'm assuming Al doesn't have time to give everyone a checkup, so nope, I think we're good.
You can choose to give everyone a checkup. However, that will make it you'll be spending time not learning your spell,
Right.
which means it will finish hours upon hours. Whatever time that you spend doing these checkups will be how much you're going to lag behind Patrick.
No, Al will trust that the other doctors will see to them to make sure that they're okay.
Sure. Okay. Anything else?
Unless questioned, Patrick doesn't see any danger with this, so he's probably not going to comment.
Okay. All right. The second time you go to help with the rotation, we'll just say shift rotation for the sake of simplicity, there is no events. It's very quiet. And in fact, a lot of the scouts, including Lightbeat, who you've get a lot of this information from, right? I was gonna say, he lets you know that everything is quiet, like eerily quiet. Like none of the scouts spotted anyone or anything, any bugs, nothing strange, for at least a period of 7 hours. Right? It's a desert out there, for lack of a better word. When you go to when it is the third rotation, you enter a scene of chaos. For the second you breach the atmosphere of Mars, the Minor Innocence gets a radio call asking for a immediate extraction, and as soon it is relayed to you. You're able to land on the surface of Mars, but you can see a vast horde of ant-like mutants running towards the canal site. A quick approximation implies that they are in number the hundreds. But thankfully, due to the speed of your ship and the readiness of all the scouts and the survey crew, they were not caught unaware. And they're able to both bring on the surveillance equipment and all other personnel without directly engaging with these ants. It is a frenzied scene with a lot of disorganization, but nobody out and outright panics. And with the exception of a few very minor injuries, mostly caused by muscle strain, everyone gets aboard the ships alive. It is quite a few hours later when you get a report very early in the morning on the 5th day. You get a report from Nocturn, who says that currently the Canalized survey is on hold until further notice. Anything you guys want to say or do or roleplay in regards to that scene?
Not to Nocturne. No.
Okay. All right. Or even amongst yourselves or anything else.
No, I don't think this would be the time for them to question anything. So, nope, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So on the 5th day, we're going to jump ahead. Patrick, Al. The words, the mystic words, are memorized in your minds. You know all the forms. You know exactly how to conduct the ritual. You know what gestures to make, when and where. You've practiced with complete precision. You feel that you could conduct this ritual now. It is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, using Earth rotational time, of course.
With a brief moment of adrenaline from excitement, that moment when you figured out like a puzzle, and you're, and also combined with the worry and rush of the dire situation, Patrick runs over to the console to contact
Valone?
Valone. Thank you.
No problem. It is a period of 10 minutes before you see the Razor's Kiss leave its orbit and move towards the Rhapsody. Valone gets back aboard, goes up to the cockpit, says to Tom, "All right, I've managed to secure us authorization to dock with the Minor Innocents here in space. Whenever you're ready, prepare to attach the ships."
Okay.
Okay.
I will do so.
Great. You guide the Rhapsody through the vacuum of space towards the much larger Minor Innocents, and you're able to, with Valcone's direction, dock with the back loading area, for lack of a better word. You know what? Let's make the Minor Innocents a little bit bigger, since this will now be featured prominently as our next setting. No, wait, that's not the Minor Innocents. That's the Rhapsody.
This is the Minor Innocents.
Come on, you derp. You should know what ship you have. There we go. The Minor Innocents. Look at that baby. You actually dock right there. Whoop. Okay. So, Valone meets you by the airlock, by your side airlock, of course. Looks to you all and he says, "Okay, who's going with me?" And he also reaches his hand out for that can of knockout spray.
Oh, they're both muted. Patrick will step forward.
Okay.
For this.
Oops, sorry. Al will also step forward.
Okay.
Silently.
And what's Tom gonna do?
He's BR.
Well, I'll stay on the ship.
Okay.
Keep it.
Not a
keep
worry.
It good. 'Cause I shouldn't be at the actual exorcism.
Oh, yeah, you can choose to be, but you're doing for the sake of safety, of not getting your ass possessed, not being
Yeah,
around. Okay,
basically.
I can understand that. I can respect that, and I thank you for your patience. Although I'm sure you will have your part to play down the line. That's for sure. All right. So, and do you hand Valcone the knockout spray? Don't you all answer me at once?
Well, there's only one
Like, I don't
person
want
with
to
the
make an
knockout.
assumption as the GM. So, sorry, what was that?
I'm sorry.
Patrick?
I thought we had already given it to him. Yes. Al would not only hand it to him. Well, okay. I just realized we would probably need to develop some method because the thing that actually delivers it is meant to go on power armor. So I'm assuming it's rather big and unwieldy. Well, not too big, but at least something that would have to attach around your forearm.
You've had enough time to transfer it to like an aerosol spray can.
Okay, then yeah, yes. Al would give it to him and make sure he knows how to use it.
Valcone will give a laugh and be like, I just pushed the little red button on the top, right? And make sure the nozzle's facing away from me.
Al nods and he says, "It's a hard thing to screw up, but a hell of a screw up, so better safe than sorry."
Uh-huh. Yeah. Nothing about this is safe. Valcone spits out as he says, okay, just follow my lead, okay? And it's a bit of a mess in there since the extraction, so try not to get distracted, he says. And with that, the airlock's open and you board upon the Minor Innocents. You come across a large open area, which you recognize as one of the main loading bays that was used for the harvesting equipment. I'll give you a moment here. Oh, it's my parents. My parents just Skyped me. I'll have to talk with them later. Sorry about that. That kind of ruins the illusion, doesn't it? All right.
It's fine.
anyways.
It is family, so.
Yes.
Oh,
it
man,
is.
you should have seen Squee like an hour ago.
Oh God, yeah. I saw in the middle of the stream. I called to give Higging directions. Sorry.
As long as I didn't hear it, it doesn't matter. That sounded so bad, but like, it's all good. Anywho, so you recognize it as one of the large loading areas of the Minor Innocents that was used for a lot of the harvesting equipment. All right, and you actually see a few groups of these freebooters and outcast dregs kind of milling around as if they're not too sure exactly what to do. But Valcone points you guys to an upper exit, an upper door on the second level. You ascend a flight of stairs and you enter. As he guides you towards the brig, which is located in almost the very center of the Minor Innocents itself, he stopped a few times by a few network personnel, but he has a smile, he engages in some small chat, a little bit of gossip, and has you guys kind of hang back. A lot of people, you notice kind of two cross sections of people who are in the ship. All right, you see individuals who clearly work for the network, by the sounds of it at least, because they are all dressed in very similar clothing. All right, a lot of it is colors of blacks and whites, or a combination of two. And they're always a pair of trousers and some sort of shirt. Not necessarily a work shirt, but more of a dressier type of dress shirt, or a more formal looking shirt. Some of them have different colored bands down their left arm, but you're not too familiar with this insignia to really determine who is who. Okay. The other group of people definitely have no sort of uniform or any sort of regulation whatsoever. There are a mix of hodgepodge. Some of them look like they've just been pulled from the proverbial gutters of the outcast station, dressed in arms and armor. Some of it is a little patchwork. Some of it looks like it's had recent repairs. Some individuals look like they're well-equipped freebooters, such as Lightbeat, for example, with prime weapons and armor, and all of them still have it on because this is still, well, some of them have their armor on, some of them have it off, right? Because this is still in the. It's been less than a day since the whole, extraction from the canal survey zone. Suffice to say, thankfully, with a little bit of smooth talking and nobody really asking any questions so far, you're able to get to the brig. Valone raises a hand. You're currently standing in a wide hallway, and you can see signs that point to a security station nearby. Valone asks you guys to just stand there for a moment before he's going to enter the security area alone. And he's gone for a few minutes. And down at the end of the hall, you recognize, actually, a familiar face. An individual, an individual. I sound like such a turd. The person you recognize is... Oh my god, give me a moment. I know his last name. What's his last... Oh yeah, Raymond. Dr. Raymond Boville, the head medical doctor on the Minor Innocents. And he's kind of hurrying down the hallway himself. His slightly balding head has a little bit of sweat on it. And he pauses for a moment, and he looks at Al, and he looks at Patrick, and he looks at Al again, and goes, Oh, I didn't realize you were on the ship. We could have used you 3 hours ago.
Oh? What happened?
Oh, minor medical incident. One of the dregs completely pulled his back, but he was very, very ornery. Very, very, in a very foul mood, and caused a bit of a ruckus. Gave one of my assistant medics a bloody nose.
I see.
Yeah, could have used some hand, not necessarily treating him, but restraining him. You are definitely more of a medical practitioner who works with his hands in a full defining way of saying such a phrase. What brings you on board?
Oh, well, things have been crazy the past couple of days, of course.
Hey, that's an understatement. Yes, damn canal lines. I have no idea why we're surveying them. It was asking for disaster. I hope we never go back down.
Agreed. Well, from what I understand, Nocturn is thorough in information, and we're here to just give a full report of the past few days. I suppose it makes sense. The more information you have, the better decisions you can make.
Yeah, yes. It's very true. Very true. Very true. He gives Patrick a bit of an eyeball. He looks back towards you. Al, roll me, you're being a little charming here. That's nice. So why don't you roll me a D100?
Just barely made it.
Barely. Okay. All right. I'll say, oh, okay. Am I interrupting?
I don't think so. But perhaps we should catch up later.
Yes. Of course. Now's not the time. Maybe when all this mess is over, we'll compare notes. And he kind of gives a bit of a chuckle to himself before he kind of raises his hand in a little goodbye salute and scurries back down the hall.
Al would.
No, guy.
So I would just say, when he says that, I would say we should. Someone's got to keep everyone walking.
Yes, and we're the ones who drew the short stick. Such is the heavy weight of knowledge. And so before Valone returns to give me an update on what he's doing, Is it okay if I switch focus back on the Rhapsody for a moment?
Go for it.
Sure, I'm all for it. Yeah.
Okay. So, are you there, Bern?
Yes.
Okay. So, where would you be? Back at the cockpit? Are you keeping an eye on the ship as far as the piloting goes?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, you so far, and since you've been able to watch as keeping update status on the monitors and whatnot, you're not seeing any sort of alerts. You're still in an air. You're still docked with the minor innocents, and you have clearance to continue dock with them for at least a few hours. So that's not a problem. But there's a little bit of movement to your right, and you soon see the big furry form of Bear kind of settle in his bulk into the co-pilot's chair that's next to you. Takes a look at you. Takes a look outside the clear, transparent metal windows that is the front of the cockpit. Staring out into the space, you can see the edges, the dark blue edges of the minor innocents a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't say anything for a few minutes. And then finally he says, Tom,
Yes.
what do you do when you worry?
What are you worried about?
He pauses for a moment and says, the shorter answer would be what I am not worried about. I am worried about Nora. How I only ever see her and talk to my old friend when she is upset or feeling like she is in great danger. Mila is a sweet girl, but Mila is not Nora. I worry about this red planet of yours. I worry about every time ventures down and the creatures that are upon it. I worry about what our friends are doing upon the ship right now, facing something that cannot be fought in a conventional way. What do you do when you worry, Tom?
This might sound kind of dumb, but I try not to worry. Because me sitting here worrying is not helping them achieve their goal. It's useless. It's me feeling bad for no reason, and it's my time would be better used thinking about other things, if you know what I mean.
Bear kind of gives a bit of a nod and he says, what do you think of?
Well, the future. Like, what are we gonna do if we succeed? How are we going to, capture the next few bugs after we get the bugs and we, go and face the Baron? What are we gonna, what are we gonna do after that? Do we want to go back to Earth? Do we want to explore further out to space for some reason? Random thoughts. But I try not to dwell on things.
I see. You do not dwell on things you cannot control. You focus on things that you can. You plan for things you do have control over.
Mm-hmm.
Bear pauses for him. Bear pauses for a moment. And he says, how do you know for certain whether there's something that you can control or not? Maybe there is a way I can help Nora, but I just don't know it yet.
That is a very good question. And unfortunately, probably not something I can answer.
The bear kind of gives a bit of a frown, but it's very, very light, and he says, "Do not worry, Tom. I do not know the answer either." Then he'll shift his bulk up and get off the seat and bring a hand out and kind of give your shoulder a little pat. And he says, "I like Blink. I liked her the moment we met back down upon Earth. Fierce, strong woman. She is lucky to have you." And with that, he'll leave. Unless you say something or stop him.
Thank you. That'll be it.
He doesn't. He doesn't reply with a "you're welcome" because bear.
'Cause
But
he's bear.
because he's bear. Okay. So that's kind of nice. Is it okay if I shift us back over to the other guys?
Go for it.
Okay. Ruby. So, fellas, a few moments after Dr. Boville makes his depart down the hallway, you see Valone exit with 3 other individuals. All of them seem to be dressed in a similar-ish style of his own clothes. 2 men and a woman. And they make their way down the mess hall, and they're kind of laughing, and you hear a few jokes about how crazy everything has been. It's best to take whatever opportunities they can get, and someone's making another joke about how much they're going to be able to drink within the hour, and all that good stuff. And Valcone's kind of laughing, and he's kind of going along with them for a bit. He goes a good 20 feet down the hallway, and they're in front of him, and he's kind of behind them. They're kind of moving in a bit of a crowd. And you see him with one hand, he's waving at you guys to just get inside the brig. Kind of with his hand real quick. Get it, exit through the door that he entered, the door that he just went into, as he continues to laugh and carouse with the other personnel.
I will not wait for a second request.
Okay.
Yes, but what do you mean with his hand?
Get the fuck in. You motherfucker. All right. So you enter the door. You find it unlocked, actually, and the doors slide open without any sort of problem. And you enter what appears to be some sort of security checkpoint, because there's a large kind of plastic or glass window that has behind it is a desk and a chair. And you enter another period of doors, and you come across what appears to be some form of brig. It is pretty large, for lack of a better word. It is about 40 feet deep and a good 60 feet wide. It has 3 separate cells, all of them in about 10 feet square. So not very big, but they seem to have a small bunk to rest and a basin in which to wash yourself and another receptacle in which to relieve oneself. And they all are enclosed with a traditional kind of metal door, a metal sliding door, actually very similar to modern U.S. prisons. All right, a sliding door that is controlled with a control pad nearby. You see also in the room a small security station, which you're assuming someone sits and monitors. The computer is currently on a sleep mode that requires a password to enter. And other than that, that's about it. Is there anything else about this room that you want to know specifically? In fact, you know what? Fuck it. Let me give you just a very, very brief drawing. Let me guide you over to because this might help you out with picturing it. So I'm going to go underneath all of our tokens here, and I'm going to do what I love to do, which is draw in a shitty way.
Yay! I do have a question while you're doing that. Locking mechanism on the door. What kind of, what is?
What is? Okay.
What kind of lock does the door have, and what would our access to it be?
An electronic sliding lock. So, wow, that's really bad, Inferno. So forget about this. Oh, actually, no. I'll use this. This is perfect. This is exactly what I meant to do. So here's where the electronic lock is. That little blue thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a simple command. Actually, it's a simple, not really a keypad. No, it is a keypad actually. An electronic keypad with emergency lock, emergency unlock, and then an automated function. And before each function can be accessed, what appears to be an 8-digit password must be put in.
Okay.
This thing in the corner here, by the way, is the security terminal. So here, I'll put little blue lines there. That means data. So if we're looking at dimensions, it's like 40 feet from here to here, and like a good 65 feet from here to here. Each of these things are 10 feet square.
And those are the cells?
Yep. This is very, very rough. This is like some 4-year-old drew it, because that's what my artistic level is. Also, I'm doing this freehand, so fuck it. It gives you an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Just some sort of representation.
Patrick will immediately go around the room and start with his space age distance finder, make sure that he has enough room to make the sufficient amount of salt for the circle.
Salt? Okay. This section right here by the doorway, which, by the way, the doorway is like here.
Mm.
But this section right here gives you enough space to create an unbroken circle. The rest of it's too small. This is too narrow, these are too small, and this is too cramped.
Alright.
Right here works.
Okay.
What do you guys do next?
Okay, so we're supposed to be detained, if I remember the correct term, but I think he might think something's up just because the desk is empty.
Mm-hmm.
So going into one of these may not be the best idea for multiple different reasons, so let's just stay over in this area, I guess.
Okay. Okie dokie.
Yeah, I think that's probably best.
So, and you guys just stay there and you wait, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, I'd like to try something. Because we
Alright.
never talked to Valone about the lock on the door.
Nope.
Could I roll a jerry-rig check to see if there's a way to quickly or easily make it so that the door could be shut and not opened again easily?
Oh, give me a moment. Jury rig is really for fixing things. What do you want to? Do you have any idea what you want to do, or you have no idea, so you're trying to use the skill in order to do so?
Yeah, I don't know enough about the technology or anything like that to know what I could or couldn't do. Like, I don't know if I could put a door stop in there. You know what I mean? So
no,
I just don't know.
Door. Yeah, no, that won't work. It's okay. Well, let me tell you a little bit more about the doors then. All right. They seem to be about 3-inch thick metal bars upon a sturdy metallic frame. You're not too sure exactly what kind of metal looks like, but it somewhat resembles steel. There are servos on either end of the door, on the right side of each door there, that create it's an electronic signal that's sent to them that has them immediately slam shut and open.
Okay.
You're not able to find out exactly what kind of force because you actually haven't seen them shut and open before. You're only inferring this from looking at them. But it is fair to assume that it is a significant mechanical force that opens and closes these devices, these doors.
Got it. All right, I thought of a better solution anyway. So okay. Question.
Fuck your description.
No,
All right,
no,
yeah,
no,
what's
no,
up?
no,
No,
Help
no,
me.
it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. Don't worry about it.
The other question is, as a PPE Duracell, how much attention needs to be of mine needs to be on the ritual? As in,
Complete. You
Okay.
need to focus on the ritual and open yourself up completely, so Patrick can draw the magic.
so
You
I
need
would
to
be
be
able
in
to
very
cast
close
spells
proximity of him,
Mhm.
preferably actually in physical contact with him. And you need to focus on the ritual. You cannot have your mind or your body do anything else.
Got it. Okay. That's all I need to know.
Okie dokie. So you stand there at one end of the hallway, closest to the farthest cell, which you have confirmed are all empty, for about 15 minutes. It's silent for a while. I'm going to wait till Tom is done typing, so I know I'm not missing anything. Oh, he's just leaving. That's fine. So, 15 minutes pass. Finally, you're able to hear a little bit of conversation, rumbling conversation, as one of the security outer door opens. And you hear Killian's voice, and you hear Valcone's voice. And sure enough, Killian Blackwater, who steps through the threshold. He looks a little bit more disheveled than you've seen. His hair is not neatly combed, and his 5 o'clock shadow has almost turned into a miniature beard in itself. The bristles have gotten just long enough to be considered a short beard than, a scruff. He looks around for a brief moment, and as he turns to face you, you hear Valcone say, "Sorry, Killian." And with a spray of an aerosol can and a quick wah sound from Killian Blackwater himself, he steps back a little bit, woozy on his feet, as he slumps down to his knees, and his eyes lock on to you. You see, they're not the groggy eyes of an anesthetized individual, but fierce predator eyes that curse the both of you before he falls down upon his face, completely knocked out. Valcone stands over Killian's body and says, "I hope to everything that is fucking holy you are right, or I'm dead."
Yeah.
Pulling this done.
If you can, any sort of recording equipment will be helpful here to convince him he's going to be unconscious for the ritual, so convincing him of what's happening is very important after this.
Yeah, Killian says, and he moves over to the security terminal that was laying empty. He says, "Okay, yeah, I have access to this, limited access, but I'll get the cameras here online." And he'll point over to the corners, the far corners of the room. Actually, I'll point this in a different color. Let's do pink. And there's a camera here, and here, here, and here. And you didn't recognize them as cameras. They actually are what, for lack of better words, seem to be just light fixtures. But now that they're pointed out very clearly, Al, and I'd say even Patrick, since you've had some familiarity with network secret cameras, are able to see them for what they truly are. So Valcone is busy doing that for you.
Oh, we need
And
to get to
after
work.
a few minutes, I'll let you keep on getting to work on what you need to do. But I just want you to know, in about 3 minutes' time,
Mhm.
he'll give you a bit thumbs up, and he says, "Yep, all right. I have them all pointed to where you are, and they're recording to the local drive here."
How likely do you think it is someone might walk in on us during this?
Well, I bought a few rounds for the people who were supposed to work here, but God knows who's going to stop in. You know, just either a coworker or, God forbid, there's some sort of problem that happens and someone has to be detained or security's called. No, no, small percentage chance, at the very least.
All right. Well, perhaps we should make sure they can't open the door in such a case.
Patrick is continuing to. He's making the circles and the preparation and
Sure.
making sure
Yeah,
that
yeah,
the buy's
okay,
in place
sure,
at this point.
Sure, here, I'll
But-
start drawing a circle for you.
He's gonna go. This door needs to be opened again fairly soon.
I understand.
As well as you, and he points over to is it Killian? Valcone, thank you.
Yeah.
Killian's
You,
unconscious, he can't respond.
Valcone,
Sorry.
you cannot be here, at least within sight. You can be just outside the door, but you cannot have any. He cannot see you when this happens. As long as he can't see you outside this room, you should be fine.
Killian purses his lips a little bit, and he says, and he begins to protest a little bit. He says, "I could say that I want to stick around because this all still could be some part of huge elaborate ruse of yours. But that's just surface level. The real reason is because I was hired. I was tasked by Samantha, by, and he corrects himself, by Nocturn, by Commander Nocturn, to find the truth. And I've come so close to it now. Why do I need to leave?
He will.
Tell me straight up."
The possessed entity will try to, as I said before, latch on to anything. Anything and everything.
What about you then?
Since I am the
Can't it maybe
caster
prevent
of the spell, I will be slightly more protected, but still maybe not in the best place. He's also going to be helping and having similar protection. You do not have this.
Give me a moment. I gotta think as Valcone.
Can Al say something, or?
Of course, because he's gonna take a moment and pause and thought, because that's
Al
what I'm
would say,
doing.
do you have any way of monitoring the cameras?
He pauses for a moment. He says, "Not just outside the door. Well, shit." He thinks for a moment. You know, if Marlis is as sloppy with her computer work as she is with her paperwork, maybe I can get onto her terminal, the security station that's just outside this door. That has access to the monitoring equipment inside, of course. It needs to be. It's a part of security protocols. I could monitor that through the cameras, and that way I could see what's going on, make sure there's no funny business, and if worse comes to worse, I can contain all of you there, in case there's still a risk. He starts to move towards the door, and he says, "I'm really trusting you on this, but we have one last thing we need to figure out. You just said there's a chance that this thing will go out from Killian and get into one of you two. How the hell am I going to find out if that's true or not? How am I going to know that you guys are you and not, have that thing inside of you?"
Patrick will hold up the goggles. Though he might still hide from this if he knows that this actually works. Myself, Patrick will wince really hard and actually reach down to his shirt and pull out a necklace. He's gonna pull out this, and which is vibrating in his hand. This will stop
violently. Violently, by the way. It is not just vibrating in your hand; it's practically jittering over your palm. And Valone stares at it and goes, "What the hell is it doing?"
It senses high beings as well as items that have a certain amount of magic. It is the only way that I knew that the necklace to begin with, the one that he broke, had the entity inside of it. I tried so hard to convince him to put it down, but it shattered and he got possessed. I told him to not. I told him to be careful, and he. It's okay. I made a mistake to not be specific enough. I've had this happen to me before. But this will stop.
Valone looks at you for a moment, and he slowly reaches for the jittering Kriat for Ed. And he'll say, "Well, I won't make the same mistake as Killian. So, it's vibrating like this because this thing is around, right? If it stops vibrating, that means it's gone?"
Yes.
He takes it for a moment. He keeps it in his hand as it actually causes his hand to quake a little bit too. Before he exits the door to close it behind him, he says, "Worst comes to absolute worst. You guys are possessed. There's no way of stopping this thing. You giving me permission to use lethal force?"
We have more than just this ritual to stop such a thing. As we said, we have one final wall of protection. We have one more case. If this ritual doesn't come off, we have a fairly quick spell that can be used. It's a more risky and will use up the last of what we can use for this ritual, but if that fails, then find out which one of it is. And I'm not quite sure about you, Al, but I'm okay with going down like this for another man's life.
Al would nod and he would say, "Hopefully, I think that you would detain us until our friends can find a different solution. But if we are endangering the lives of others, don't hesitate."
He gives a sharp nod and then exits out the door. You hear a little hiss of an electronic lock as it locks behind you. Now it's just you, the unconscious body of Killian, in that circle of unbroken salt that you lay upon the metallic floor of the brig.
All right, Patrick, let me know right before you need my attention. I'm gonna lock the door.
It's already locked.
No, I stay it anyway.
Okay. all right, that's fine. My brain hurts, but that's okay.
Patrick will nod and hand you a circlet.
Al will put it on.
Now, Al, the
Mhm.
circlet was originally made for a creature with a larger head than yours. However, it doesn't fit smugly upon the crown of your head. It actually goes past your flowing elven blonde locks and actually rests on the tops of your pointed ears. But it holds fast there. It's a little loose, it's a little weird feeling, but it is there, and the second you don it, your mind feels girded. You have a sense of calm about you
Okay.
that this thing radiates.
And Patrick will start the ritual.
I'm assuming you're putting Killian in the center of the circle.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
And before, basically, at whatever point before Al's attention is needed.
As soon as he starts incantation, he
That's
will
what I thought.
need your attention.
All right, so Al before then is going to cast Carpet of Adhesion and make it maybe just maybe 6 inches wide and a foot long, and basically make it so that half of it is touching the door frame and the other half of it's touching the door where the where it would open.
All right, how much PPE does that cost?
Hang on, I have it right here. 10.
All right, please spend that. That is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So that little carpet of adhesion is going. I'm gonna make it like a little orange thing. So it's gonna go right here underneath the floor of the door, like that.
That would work. My thought was more like part on the door. You know what? That's perfect. That's perfect the way it is. Yes.
It'll still stick the door.
Yeah.
Either
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Great. So you both get into place. Al, right beside Patrick. In fact, you, like I said, in order for you to be a proper conductive battery for this ritual, you will need to touch him somehow. A physical contact helps the most. There, of course, you can do rituals without physical contact, but this will make it a whole lot easier, and a lot easier for Patch to draw your own potential psychic energy into himself and cast a spell.
Al will be behind Patrick with a hand on his shoulder.
Great. You begin the incantations. The incantations are in 3 phases. First, words of binding. Third, sorry. Third, not knowing how to count. All right, now, first is the words of binding. Second is the ritual of, well, for lack of a better word, it's so I'm just trying to come up with the right words here. There we go. The piercing phase, for lack of a better word, and then finally the ritual of expunging, which finally draws him out. Right. So you bind the soul to the circle. I mean, the possession entity to the circle. You find him within Killian, and then you purge him out. Each of these rituals takes about 3 minutes and change. As the first phase completes, you can see the salt in the circle. Every single tiny grain glow a soft cyan blue, and it throbs as if the salt molecules themselves are tiny crystals, and they light up the surface of the room. Minutes pass. By the way, are you using all your PPE and then getting the few extra that you need from Al? Or are you doing 50-50? Like 30 from you, 30 from Al?
Would that be
Or is
okay?
it 59 from you or 30 from Al? I mean, and then like 2 from Al or 1 from Al?
How much is needed for the spell of exorcism?
30.
No.
30
yeah.
PPE.
Okay, got it.
30 PPE for the spell, 60 for the ritual.
Piph, whichever way is fine. I've got 46 left.
I would like to end with at least 10, but that's my preference.
Well, how much do you have?
59.
Okay, why don't we do this? Take enough from me so that you have 30 left, so that in last-ditch effort you can cast it as a spell.
Okay.
So that means you are going to use 29, and so Al, you need to give him 31.
Okay.
Yep. That math is right. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So, you can feel your energy, Al, flow into Patrick, and then the energy itself from Patrick around the circle itself. All right. As you begin the second phase, the piercing phase, for lack of a better word, that I couldn't come up with, the glowing grains of salt begin to levitate in the air just a few inches off the floor. And Killian's unconscious body begins to jitter again. First, very small tremors of his fingers and his ears and his lips. But that finally, as your voice Patrick's voice fills the room in a chant, and his gestures move up and down and around his body, Killian's body begins to violently move, as if he's having those seizures yet again. As the third phase begins, the expunging phase, the second you begin the first ritual words to begin that third phase of the ritual, his body completely stops, and the grains of salt once again fall to the floor. And it doesn't look like anything's happening for a moment. The glow, the salt cyan glow, begins to turn to a yellow, very, very, very slowly. And then finally, Killian's body begins to levitate from the ground, not just a few inches, a good solid 5 feet into the air. His arms float above his head as if he's underwater. And as you give the final word to draw this possession entity, this interloper into Killian Blackwater, his eyes open. And now Inferno sees if he happens at the end.
I will mention that I do have a spell strength of +1.
That does not work for rituals, but that will be
Oh,
important
that's right,
for the
yes.
spell
Okay,
version.
thank you.
That's okay. Got good news.
Hmm.
He didn't. He needed a 16 and he got a 7. So,
What a scrub.
Don't.
don't, Al,
He possesses the shit out of you.
he's not out of everything just yet. So, out of curiosity, Patrick, are you wearing the goggles right now?
Probably not.
Okay.
But if you'd like me to, I wouldn't stop.
No. I'm not gonna make you wear the fucking goggles.
Wear the
I just need to know this to help with my description, you bitch. Anyways, Killian's eyes open as he floats over there. And his mouth opens, his eyes are as wide as can be. You can see the whites and the reds of the reds at the corner of his eyes, and his fingers splay out. And Killian gives this awful tortured groan as if he's passing a kidney stone, for lack of a better word. A very painful sound. And then finally, he slumps to the ground. The air is thick with magic. Can't see anything, but you can feel it. It's still here. It's still in the room with you. Al,
Yes.
I gotta open up your character sheet for a moment.
Be gentle with it.
Now I want you to know
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you guys know the risk that you're putting in here, right? So,
Yes.
if things go poorly, you you understand the consequences, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I
All
will.
right. I just. Mhm.
I will never get that pony I wanted for Christmas.
No, no, I'm not saying you'll die, but you're gonna let me be a possession entity for a
Oh,
while.
dear God,
We'll
man! I
see.
just wanted a pony for Christmas. Why is death?
Why is death on the line? I have to look at your very specific.
Save versus magic spell.
No,
No.
no, because this is versus possession,
Ooh.
which is going to be using your psionics, which is a 14. So, Al, I want you to roll me a 1d20, add 6, and get over 14.
Okay.
Wait,
Oh yeah.
never mind.
Oh.
You got it. No, that's good. That's a success. I was about to say, wait, should we tally up and see if we have any other bonuses? But that's fine. All right. Al,
Mm-hmm.
you feel your hair moves a little bit along your bangs a little bit, almost like a warm breeze hitting you in the face. And you can feel inky tendrils move towards your mind, but you're able to shrug it off. And the mercury within that that circlet that you wear glows violently, and all of a sudden you can see this thing shrink away from you as if a hand touching a hot stove. Patrick, what's your save versus psionics?
It is no pluses.
Sure, but what's the base? Is it a 14 as well?
Save versus psionics. I have no number there.
It should be a 14. Let me double check. Let me look at your character. Oh yeah, because you haven't put in your psionic level. Here, let me do that. You have no psionics, so it is actually it's a 15. Wait, why does Al have a 14 and you have a 15? That makes no sense. So because Al isn't psychic at all, he has no saves versus psionics at all. So I'm going to give you the same chance Al got, which is a 14 or higher. We're going to just say I don't know. In-game reason. So same thing. Roll a 1d20. You get a +6 because you're the spellcaster.
Oop.
But you need to get over 14.
That's a T.
I'm so happy for you.
Oh, not stressful at all.
This is tense. I love it. Now hold it up. No one roll a d100 yet. I want to describe what's going on first.
Yes.
Patrick, your chest feels a little empty without Ed there, without your Criad. And your skin begins to tingle a little bit, as if a hand has reached underneath your shirt and is slinking up from your stomach past your chest onto your neck. It feels like a warm breeze for a moment, and you can feel as this tendrils of air hit your chin. You can feel something move towards your mind. And for a moment, you can picture in a dark, deep, inky blue, 2 red coals, throbbing coals like eyes, look into your mind. But through the strength of your will, you push those eyes away from you, and they fade, and they fade, and they fade. The entity is still in the room with you, but you can feel its energy, and you can feel its rage and its hatred towards the both of you. Patrick, since you're the spellcaster, I think it's only fair that you roll the D100. $72, which means It leaves the area. With one final feeling, one final wretched, putrid emotion transmitted towards you. You feel it disappear far and far and far away until you don't get that feeling anymore. You can feel in the room the salt has returned to its regular state, and Killian has folded back down onto the ground and lies there unconscious, slumbering. There's a look of peace upon his face, as if someone's having a good dream. You hear a thunk at the door, and you hear Valcone's surprised voice saying, "Why won't this fucking thing open?"
Al will
Guys, can you hear me?
Al will tiredly dispel the carpet of adhesion.
Okay. The doors come open, and Valcone comes racing in, and he has Ed clutched in his hand. He says, "It stopped, it stopped, it stopped, it worked. It's gone."
Al's gonna sit down shakily and to let out a breath that I'm sure he'd been holding for a while.
Patrick will shakily put out an arm. Can I see Ed? I need to check for myself.
Alright, yeah, and he gives it to you. And Ed rests upon your hand. It doesn't look like the setting has been changed. I don't think Valcone knows woe or wane, or he used it talking to himself. And it sits there flatly in your hand, not moving an inch.
As he leans against the holding cell, clutching Ed in his hand, just standing but laying.
Valcone will take a look at Killian, and then look back to you guys, and he says, "I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it for myself. It wasn't for the cameras."
When he says
I know
that,
I can. Mhm.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, Valcone's gonna say, "When Valcone wakes up, I plan on showing it to him, in case he doesn't remember, in case he still thinks that you guys are the culprits." But, wow, that was kind of nothing like the movie. At least not I remember. There's no puke.
At the mention of Killian's name, Al's eyes will pop open, and he'll start assessing Killian for any sort of damage that he can see.
Alright, roll me D100.
All right. Succeed by 80.
Whoa.
Physically, it appears that Killian is completely fine.
Sweet. And then I would say, so what could you see over the cameras?
I saw him float in the air. I saw him jitter around. I saw you chanting. I saw goddamn salt turn different colors. And then I saw him float back onto the ground, and your thing stopped moving.
Okay. We should probably clean this up. What do we do with Killian?
Well, he looks no worse for wear, as far as I can tell. But
Valcone says, "How about I just call for the doctor, have him sent to our medical facilities just for a final checkup, make sure he regains consciousness, and then I'll have a chat with him. I'll have to have a chat with Nocturn too, but I think I'm going to talk to Killian first. Maybe he and I can come up with some sort of solution where, we can let her know that he's safe and he's fine and you guys had nothing to do with it."
part of me hopes that he remembers. Part of me hopes that he doesn't. I'm not sure I'd want to remember something like this.
Yeah. Holy shit, he says. Well, if we're gonna continue on with this cover story or whatever, maybe it's best that you guys get back on your own ship.
Yes. I'll get the salt.
Oh my god. Are you gonna brush up all the salt?
Unless somebody's gonna stop him, that's what he's gonna do.
I won't stop him.
Valone. Okay, here's the only thing I have a question as a DM. How are you gonna clean it up? Like, are you gonna like scoop it up into your hands?
I assume that we had a carrying something for the salt. Probably trying to
a
like
little metal box.
yeah. Yeah,
Scoop it in, put it back in the box. Oh my god. Valone will say, he goes, "Don't worry, we can clean this up later."
Okay, good. He's gonna close the box.
Okay. All right. So if you like, we can just say, narratively speaking, you guys get back onto the Rhapsody,
Yeah,
or you move towards the Rhapsody.
that's my plan.
Okay. On your way to the Rhapsody, you're only stopped by one person, and that's Lightbeat. He kind of fills you in on a little bit of gossip, but I don't know how much you guys are in the mood to chat.
I would chat, if nothing else, to be polite.
Okay, then you engage in a little bit of small talk, nothing too fancy, most of it having to do with the extraction of the ley lines. Of the canal line point, the survey point. But after that, he kind of gives you a bit of a nod and lets you continue on your way. Get back onto the Rhapsody. Do you guys want to roleplay with Tom at all a little bit?
You see Patrick walk in, similar to somebody who has just woken up and currently in a daze.
You okay?
Yeah. Yes. Everything went great. He's
Not
gonna.
what I asked. Are you okay?
Patrick will.
Just shaken.
If there were any bugs around, they'd be flying in and out of his mouth, catching flies.
Okay.
But he eventually responds, "Yeah."
Good. Everything went well, I take it. Killian's, all good and stuff. He's not gonna kill us and all that.
What? No.
Remains to be seen, honestly, but hopefully not.
Why would he
Wait, you
kill
got
us?
back on the ship before knowing?
Well, we weren't supposed to be on their ship, remember? Every second we spent on there, the more likely we would be found out. It should be fine. The worst is past, I hope.
Okay. I'll just undock us. I'll just go do that.
Sure, you
Tom will
undock.
look kind of worried, even though he had that conversation not too long ago with Bear.
So, you undock. About 4 hours later. You guys can... I'm gonna just go back into a more storytelling mode, if that's okay by you guys.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 4 hours later, Nocturn gives you a message to let you know that they're still not re-entering. Just to stay where you are, maintain orbit. Don't go anywhere. There's no need to land back on Mars because the canal survey mission is still on hold until further notice. She doesn't give you any additional information right now. She keeps her message sharp and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
You see a few times The Razor's Kiss and the Minor Innocents dock with each other. But it isn't until the next day that the Razor's Kiss moves its way back towards you. As it docks with you and the airlocks open, you see Killian, freshly shaved, his hair combed, in his pristine little commander's uniform. And those 4 other technicians, the 3 men and the 1 woman behind him. Doesn't look at you, doesn't make eye contact with you guys just yet. But he points to the cargo bay, points to 3 corners. He goes, okay, start there, there, and there. Move on to the rooms, then the bathrooms, and the cockpit, and then everything else. Then he meets your eyes, and he says, I think we need to have a little chat.
Okay.
Patrick will give actually a fairly firm nod. He seems incredibly aware of where he is at this point. Sharpest eyes you've probably seen him, other than when he's actually focusing on doing math.
I'll send a message over the intercom to have everybody meet in the recreation room.
Okay. Everyone assembles. Killian does, but the other technicians are gone. They're making their ways into your room, and you can see as you move in, it appears at least one of them seems to be taking away one of the cameras in the corner, or they're fiddling around with it somehow. But when you all assemble into the recreational room, while the other 4 engineers, for lack of a better word, mill through your ship, Killian takes a seat down. He's standing straight as a board, and he doesn't have that smirk on his face anymore, and he doesn't have that relaxed posture. It's very formal. He's straight like a flagpole. And he says, if Falcone didn't show me the footage myself, I probably wouldn't have believed it. I don't have much memory of what happened. Big blank spots filled in with consciousness. I still remember a little bit, and I have had a few bad dreams over it all. But I know that you had nothing to do with what happened to me. In fact, if memory serves, you tried to caution me away from that thing. That necklace or whatever it is that I found on that dead body. He takes a long moment to think about his next words, and he says, I'm not too proud to acknowledge help, especially when I get it from people who I don't really expect, and frankly, people I didn't really get along with all that well. We had managerial differences, let's just say. But I know how much this means to you. And he, out of his pocket, takes out a sleek silver rectangle. And Patrick, and a few others, I'll leave it up to your characters, Patrick definitely would recognize it as a external hard drive. Now, of course, this being the far future, especially orbital technology, you can hold, hundreds and thousands of terabytes on just a tiny little stick. So the very fact that this external hard drive has a space that is absolutely immense. He rests it on the table. He slides it over to you. He says, as you may have noticed, we're removing all monitoring equipment, and I have purged and scrubbed the data stores of the Razor's Kiss. Everything that has been recorded the past 4.5 months is here, and now it's all yours. Thank you. He looks around. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Patrick will start and stop. He will open and close his mouth, try to make words, but trying to find different ones.
Killian says, "Now, I still have my orders from Baron Dioxin, and I'm gonna have to tell him everything that happened. Everything I saw, everything that I've encountered, both on Mars. I'm gonna have to tell him about that thing that took hold of me. I'm gonna have to tell him about this conversation that we're having right now. It's the only way I'm able to earn my keep. I've worked with the network for a long time to know that you don't keep secrets from the Baron. But I'm going to bend that rule just a little bit. Because even though I'm going to tell him almost absolutely everything, I'm not going to tell him this next thing that I'm going to tell you. Although he'll have no physical proof of what we've seen, since you're going to have it, and I'm going to tell him I gave this to you as a gesture of thanks and goodwill. I'm going to have to debrief him on everything I saw on that, which means all those little strange items that you've been using, especially that backpack to get in and out of places, turn invisible or what have you. The Baron is very interested in relics, which is what got me in this whole situation in the first place. I'm going to have to tell him about it, which means as soon as he knows, he's going to approach you about it. And the Baron likes to get his way. That's all I'll say on that matter. He's a focused man. Killian will clear his throat a little bit and say, but before, when we had our little argument, and you asked about trust, about me trusting you, and I told you it was irrelevant. Maybe I was wrong, he says. Because now, you've kind of proven that I can trust you with my very life. So as a final token of thanks, I was supposed to just lend support in regards to assisting with the capture of these bugs. Thinking, we're not going back down to those canal lines. I don't care if it pisses the Baron off right awful. I've had enough of those things to last me an entire lifetime. Besides, we got 5 days worth of data. That's better than 0. We have practically a full crew. Only lost a few freebooters with the harvesting. So perhaps I'm going to have them help you round up the rest of the bugs that you need. What do you say to that?
I'll say that if we're successful, I doubt the Baron will be displeased at all.
Really? He says. Well, I've had enough to deal with secrets. For now. At least for one expedition. I have no interest in figuring out what you and the Baron have hashed out. Besides, I'll probably be penalized for probing too deeply. Suffice to say, if you make the Baron happy, it'll make my own life a lot easier. Because he's not going to like that I gave you over this data, but I have to. I just have to. I'd be doomed without you. So fuck it.
After a little bit, I was going to say, are you going to be okay? I know that telling Valone what you did can be very deadly. Is there any way to shield yourself from that? Convince him it wasn't you?
Nah, not really. But Valcone's a pretty good guy. I told him, one of my moments of clarity is I remember telling him I'm glad Nocturn put him in charge of investigating everything, which is why I took the gamble and let him know about breaking my silence contract. Valcone's a smart man, though. He'll keep his mouth shut. And if he does that, and I get back and the Baron's happy, I'm going to promote him so high up the chain and give him so much money, he's going to be happy to keep his mouth shut the rest of his life.
Fair enough.
He deserves it.
Yeah. I guess, he says, and he kind of gives a bit of a surprised laugh. Well, I have to talk to Nocturn over everything, reassess command, go over everything, but we'll prepare another few excursions down on Earth with full support, and we pick our fights carefully, and we can wrangle up a few of them bugs for you. And get off this blasted planet once and for all. I think we've overstayed our fucking welcome, don't you?
Yeah, I think so.
It does start to
Good.
grate.
Yeah, no shit, he says, and he starts to stand up. And he pauses for a moment, and he brings out a hand to give you all a firm handshake if you'll take it.
Sure.
Al wouldn't just take it. He'd take it, and he'd look at Killian in the eye, and he'd say, "We may not always agree on everything, but life is life. I'm glad you're okay."
Gives a smirk, customary smirk, and he says, "Yeah, I'm glad I am okay too. And regardless, you made the smart decision. You made yourself a powerful ally."
Al will raise an eye, will give a smirk of his own, mirroring Killian's. The thought had crossed my mind.
So you're not completely stupid, he says. And he takes his hand away from you. He's smiling, though, a little bit. Goes to shake Tom's hand, and Patrick's hand, and pretty much everyone else who'll take it. And with that, he'll depart. Now, I have a question for you guys as a DM, all right? So, Killian, like I said, the rewards for this is, I like to think, as much as Killian can offer, right? You have all the monitoring data for yourselves. You can do with that external hard drive as you wish, okay? But my only question is as for to dealing with rounding up the bugs, okay? Because I would like to know what you guys feel like you'd like to do, right? Honestly, with the full resources of all the ships and with such a large crew and scanning the surface and whatnot, it is not absolutely necessary to roleplay each and every extraction, okay? I can give you pretty much, for lack of a better word, an automatic success, right? There might be some narrative to describe kind of what happens, very similar to what I did with the day by day, but we won't ever have to like roll for initiative and you guys have to worry about that, okay? But if that's something that you guys are really looking forward to, if you want more encounters with these bugs, if you want the potential for more combat or something like that, that is also an option too. So I'm wondering, amongst the three of you, what would you prefer? An active or a narrative bug capture?
Honestly, I don't mind either way.
Okay.
Piph?
Piph?
Oh, go ahead, Piph.
I would prefer an active one.
Okay.
And I'm actually was going to go with I'd prefer a narrative one.
Okay, so Burn, guess what? You can't just say either way. You're going to have to choose one or the other.
Son.
Yay!
Actually, I have a question. Is this something that we
Sure.
can, that we have to determine right now, or we can determine after the session? Because I was
You know
thinking
what?
that
We could.
Criana might be able to vote.
Sure. So I understand you want to pass the buck. Okay. I get
Kinda.
it, I get it. Yeah, of course you do.
Because I really
Well-
don't mind either way, honestly.
Okay.
I
So
will
some-
say I'm not opposed to either way. It's not like I'll be upset. But
I
the
know.
only thing is that with the bugs, it's a known quantity. I kind of know what we're in for there. I kind of want to get onto the unknown. What happens next? Where do we go from here, kind of thing. But I'm fine
Yeah.
if we do it actively. I won't be disappointed.
Okay.
My
Tell. Mm-hmm.
I should probably
What's
voice the reason why I want to do the active.
Yeah.
With the narrative, as I heard the words automatic success, and I immediately went, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So if anything, we can do a hybrid. I just want to see if everything... I don't want everything to work out perfectly. I want to actually make sure that I do rolls or plans or something that actually puts forward our success instead of just kind of going like, skip it.
Yeah, I'm fine with something like
I
a
was
skill
tempted
challenge.
to do like a skill challenge or oh, you know what? That's what I won't do a fucking table because I've been doing tables like crazy this past few sessions, right? But maybe I'll do a skill challenge. Maybe we can do a skill challenge. How do you guys feel about a skill challenge?
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Okay, well, if we do a skill challenge, then we can actually, because, we don't have to stop the session right now. We normally play for another half hour, 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Well, give me a moment. Why don't we do the skill challenge now? We can wrap up the session with something like that. Okay. I like skill challenge. You need a X amount of successes before you get failures. All right, and then I describe it as it goes on. Okay, what the hell? So tell you what. While I quickly brainstorm a framework. All right, while you guys look over your character sheets and think about or earmark or something, what skills you think would be applicable in going onto Mars' surface and wrangling up a couple bugs. Live, unharmed. You know what I mean? And I'm open to many different interpretations. It's all good. I'll be pretty flexible with it too, if you can, if you pitch it well enough to me. All right. And let me know when you're already thinking. Well, I take a moment here and I hum and haw myself. Open up a notepad.
Well, we know that the actual emitters work on the beetles. If we could find where there are beetles, then we could at least get like 2 fairly easily from there.
That would be a simple skill check.
Yeah, and I was gonna say do something like set up emitters as a lane and then start emitting from behind them and corral them into it.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have one pretty good one for that.
I'd like to use guitar to lull them into the.
No.
What are you, Lucas?
You know what? Your ass almost got possessed. So no more smart from you.
I know.
I wonder if this would work for that. If we want to make a lane. If I could do like a reverse or a pseudo track animals for that.
Yeah, that's definitely that would definitely work. There'd be a small modifier to your skill, but yeah, totally, because they're not your conventional animals. But okay. So I've already come up with some thresholds for a simple, medium, and hard skill check challenge. All right. So and tell you what, this is also what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a blend. I'm gonna make a little table, all right, of the different types of insects that are roaming the surface, because this will, for lack of a better word, represent the scouting reports that get. Be like, oh, we saw like 2 or 3 beetles, or 2 or 3 cockroaches, or 2 or 3 ants, right? And maybe if you know what type it is, you can decide a general strategy, and then we can do the skill challenge if that works for you. So let me just quickly see here. So we got mantis, ants, beetles. You guys already have fly, so I won't do that one. Oh god, I gotta do this one too. That one will be tricky. That's funny. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 70% chance. I have to just quickly make this a percentage chance. So 5. Let's see. So 30, 60, 70, 80. Yeah, okay, sweet. Perfect. So 1, 2, 11, 20, 30. Oh, you gotta love making tables. Gotta love it.
I love tables. That's where I keep all my drinks.
You whore. 81. You drinking whore. Okay. Sweet, sweet table making action. Only here now. Riffs live. Okay. I'm all set.
Alright.
Cool.
I got an encounter. All right. So I want you guys to roll me D100, please.
I'm not doing it.
Angels?
I'm done
I
rolling.
did it. I did it.
31. So scouting reports lets you know that they've been able to track right in the middle of the Martian sand, away from any vegetation area, 3 slow-moving beetles that are currently tracked on the surface, and you're able to a team is able to be extracted and intercept them with relative ease. Because of the quarry and because of your pollen emitters, as Byrne hinted at, this is going to be considered an easy skill challenge, which means you guys are going to need 3 successes before you fail 5 times. Now, would you guys like to, so it'll be a skill check for each beetle, okay? So you'll have to do 2 simple skill checks. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's 2 different beetles. Okay, so I'll go from character to character. So we'll go from right here on the call. We'll go Tom, Patrick, Al. You tell me what skill you want to use, right?
Mhm.
I'll let you know what modifiers, and then you roll it. Oh, this is great. This is a great idea. Whoever came up with the skill challenge is a genius, Squee. All right. Anywho, it was Squee, right?
It was Squee and Piph at the same time, I believe.
Oh,
So it was TP.
but not Burn. All right, Burn, your
Fuck
turn.
you guys.
That's
Well,
cool.
look, there's a lot more people that was not the decision making that Burn.
It was either
Anywho.
a Squee or a P, however you want to ship it.
Sure.
Okay,
No, let's not
guys.
ship it.
Let's
Okay.
let's get back to the actual
Yes,
thing.
skill
Okay.
challenge. Yeah.
Is it me first?
Yes, it's you first.
Okay. I would like to, as I said before, use track animals to try and figure out like how they're moving so that we can put the pollen emitters in their way to create
Nice.
that lane.
Nice. I like it. I want you to roll a skill check, and in fact, the idea to use the pollen emitters cancels out the penalties for these things not being really traditional animals that you're used to tracking. So it's going to just be your base bonus. I mean, your
Okay.
base skill.
I fail by 3.
Okay. So that's 1 failure, but that's okay. You only need to fail 4 more times before you fail this check.
Okay.
Okay. And I think if failure happens, something there'll be a negative consequence, I think. You gotta have some stakes, right? Okay, Patrick, your turn. Steak.
Well, since we're working with a team, and I have enough people that this probably would work pretty well, being able to separate and move 1 or 2 of these particular bugs into the 1 or 2 crates would be pretty good. So outlining general movement and pack mentality would probably something be really good, like surround it like this so it moves in this direction. I would like to use advanced math.
Yep, I like it. No penalties.
Right.
No modifiers, I guess I should say. Okay, so that's 1 success. You need 2 more. Al?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay, I'll just let you know also as a rule.
Mhm.
It'd be preferable if we have to circle back to you guys to use a different skill.
Mhm.
If you're completely at a loss and you have to use the same skill, I'll let you use the same skill, but you will get a modifier, a negative modifier for it, to encourage a more variety skill use.
Okay. Al's going to be one of the corrallers and use his power armor skill to do a better job at it.
Okay, sure. Now the beetles get intimidated. They are territorial. So I want you to make it harder by 5, please.
Okay. I had it in my mind and then I just lost it. All right, so then succeed by 40.
Roll a 32. Nice. Okay, good. That's another success. We just need one more success and they get you a beetle. All right, Tom, back to you.
I would like to use prowl so that I'm not detected.
Nice, good. Because the territorial thing, I like it. No modifiers, negative or
Okay.
positive. That's
Son of
another
a
failure.
bitch.
This thing, you are not helping this situation. Okay, that's okay. You just need one more
Yeah,
success
sorry.
before failure.
I'm
You know
sorry.
what? The next round, you're gonna be the only person who succeeds, so it's okay. All right, Patrick, back to you.
Let's just. Would it be okay to say that we were not successful a few times, or is it just
Sure.
like one plan?
No. This is what I imagine. It's you guys kind of coming up with a plan outside, like before you land, and then you get to the surface and your plans have hit reality. And like one beetle's craning off the other side, one almost charged Tom and he was able to get out of the way. So things are not going according to plan, and there's been some hiccups in this whole thing.
Okay.
Not enough to cause any major injury just yet, unless you guys completely fail. But there's it's not going perfectly, no.
Well, okay. Let's do this. Would it be okay if I would say one of them started to run off?
Yes, most definitely. Yep.
Can I try to
Mhm.
use a pilot automobile to try to corral it back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I want you to make it harder though by 5 because your automobile, like a Rover or something like that, is smaller than the Beetle. Beetle's a good 15 feet. Your Rover's maybe 10 feet at most. So it's a little bit harder to intimidate it but not by a ton, right? So make it harder by 5.
Mm.
Okay, there's your success. I think the next beetle, I'll be a little bit more descriptive to help you guys out. But I was fine by this, so you see my pants. But Patrick, you're able to corral it, stop it from running off, and manage to get one of them into one of the large crates there. Now on to the second one. Let me paint the scene for you, okay? The track, there's still the track that kind of Tom set up with the pollen emitters, right? And one of the beetles is still in that track, kind of racing around it, while the other one has broke free, and it's starting to flee to the south. Although it's going slow, it's making these fake charges towards a lot of the personnel. They themselves have pollen emitters, which prevent it from coming into contact with it, but it's making these aggressive charges towards the team that is sent down to help you wrangle one of these things. All right, what would you guys like to do now to get your second beetle? With a hurrah, the gates close and the first one is snatched.
We continue where we left off?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, why not? Yeah, that'll be... No.
Al is going to in such an event, coordination is key, especially since it is making charges and there is a potential for chaos. Al is going to use radio basic to communicate to everyone and make sure everyone's operating on the same page.
Love it. Do it. Roll it. No penalties.
All right.
Love it. Very good.
Exceed by 49. Woohoo.
Great, so that's one success. So, using your radio basic, you get everyone on the same communications. Two of the individuals in this team of 15 people who are assisting you, two of them were on completely different radio wavelengths. You're able to get them all communicating with each other, and sure enough, as this beetle continues to try to charge them, they're able to organize into bigger clusters of groups to either intimidate it or have more pollen be thrown its way, or they're able to space themselves out and have this thing completely run around in circles, for lack of a better word, charging little tiny targets that manage to easily get out of its way. So that's your first success. Back on to you, Tom.
I'm thinking.
Sure. Like I said, you can repeat your skills again. They'll just be penalty.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna try prowl again. Why
Okay,
not?
so make it harder by 10 now, please.
Okay. I succeed.
You succeed. So, you're positioned by the pollen emitter trench, for lack of a better word, of the one beetle that's still in there, right? And it was starting to make its way towards the crate, kind of just running amok, right, towards the crate. But you're nearby, and you notice its head turn towards you, and its compound eyes peer at you, and you quickly, jump to the ground, right? Hit the ground, cover yourself in a little bit of dirt, try to make yourself not a target anymore. And it succeeds. It turns its head and continues its way towards the gate. I mean, the gate of the cage. All right. We only need one more success. All right, Piffykins.
All right. Let's see. Just trying to figure out if this is a chemistry or... No, it wouldn't be that. I'm going to say that, noticing that it is being, reckless and difficult, that, having the pollen emitter, be on a higher frequency instead of just being a general aerosol, to actually kind of be more of a full-on spray.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to try to use electronical engineer to change its wiring to...
Oh, the chip, yeah, inside of its wiring. I love it. Yeah, go ahead, do it.
Right.
Make some, make it... I'm going to just have you make it harder by 5, because we'll say you have your tools nearby to do it, but you have to do this very quickly, right?
Okay.
So yeah, we'll make it harder by 5. There's another success. So, Patrick, you're able to crack open the pollen emitter, make some changes, and completely override its time delay and force it to be a very large spray of pollen. And you use it to guide the one that's on the trench, because it keeps trying to deviate away from the trench of pollen, right? But you're able to spray behind it to really deter it from backing itself up. And much displeased with this situation, bucking and making these horrible chittering noises the entire way, you're eventually able to corral it completely into the cage itself, and the door, with a radio signal, closes shut, and you have yourselves 2 beetles. Congratulations. Would you guys like to do the final skill challenge and get your other pair?
Yeah.
Sure. Let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah, Grimmeth, this is how we roll. We roll with high variance, yo. Yeah, anywho. It was an impromptu thing. I don't feel bad for it. Okay, so I would like... Burn, you roll me a D100 now.
Okay. Boom. 78.
78. Huh, interesting. Okay. Oh my god. I know exactly what to do for these guys. Oh, this is perfect. So, it it's another day or so after you capture the beetles. And there is you get a communique from Nocturne actually. She seems a lot more rested, by the way, and she's a lot more I don't want to say personable, right? But her tone has definitely changed with you guys. Rather than the sharp and to the point, she sometimes engages in a little bit of small talk, but she still keeps it relatively professional. And she mentions that herself and a few other officers have been going over the debriefing reports of when you guys went to the terraforming place, that small cluster of vegetation that had the yellow flowers in the first place. And she mentions that you guys reported seeing 2 cockroaches, and she suggests that with a properly supported team, this might be an ample opportunity to capture those 2 specimens.
It is.
So I think that's
Oh, those ones that we freaked out.
Yep.
That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I think that'll be our next skill challenge.
Sounds
So
good.
they're also not cool with the pollen, and this is in terrain that you're familiar with. So no, I'm gonna make it a simple skill check as well. No need to make it medium or hard or anything like that. Because
Okay.
you guys have the advantage of home ground, I think. Make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay, guys. Let's go the opposite now. Let's go Squee Patrick. Sorry, Squee Piph Burn. This way around.
Okay, I have a
Mhm.
question. When it comes to the skill check, if
Yeah.
I want to do something that would be kind of like at the last moment thing, can I do that first for my first skill check, and then we just say it happens?
Sure, because we're storytelling together,
Right.
sure. And I was also thinking, if you guys want to cast spells or use abilities, I'll just give it a percentage chance to succeed.
Okay.
You know, so
My
like a 70% chance or 80, or you know what I mean. I'll assign a percentage for you.
my thought was to if the cockroaches are aggressive at all, make myself a target right in front of the cage as it rushes towards me, and then like backflip out of the way in my power armor.
So you can use backflip.
Like
I like it.
backflip-
Okay.
use the power armor to backflip like onto the top of the cage. So,
Exactly. So this is what we're gonna do. Okay. So for your first wrangling thing, we're gonna decide what happens now, whether it's success or failure.
Yeah. Mhm.
But you're right. We won't trigger. I won't use it to describe until it's about to be caught. Right.
Okay. Mhm.
For the sake of simplicity, but let's see if you succeed or fail.
Okay.
Backflip in your power. No, you can pilot power armor. You're gonna just use your straight backflip skill,
Okay.
which I think is like probably 98, right?
80, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh, 80. Okay. Oh, it's only me who can backflip.
But I
like
succeeded.
boss. Good stuff.
Well, it's also Tom. Tom has a
Yeah,
freaking.
Because he failed by
Oh,
that
yeah.
2%.
Nice. Okay, Patrick, your turn.
Okay, let's see. So these guys. Okay. Yeah. So I was so entranced by the concept of backflip, I wasn't looking through my skills.
It's fine. It's fine. You can use skills that you used in the beetle encounter. If you want to use them in a different descriptive way, I won't give you any sort of penalty.
Okay.
Since this is a completely fresh encounter with fresh, enemy types, for lack of a better word, I'll let you kind of reset the skills that you already used.
Yeah. I just have a lot to pan through. I'm
To
going.
go through? Yeah, I know, because you're a skill monkey. Skill
I
monkey,
am.
magic monkey.
I am a skilled magic monkey.
Well, if you want, if you have something before Patrick, then you can go first.
He's
They're
in the same
they're
position.
Fucking looking too, motherfuckers. Come on. Just some
Yeah.
cockroaches.
It's very likely going to be lame like last time.
Okay, I got something.
Okay, great.
I don't like it because of my percentage, but I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Okay, good, good.
So I remember back a bit that freaking these things don't like lights, specifically strobing lights. And I do have a pocket laser. I like to use my laser skill.
What's your percentage chance on your laser skill?
59.
Make it a 65 and roll.
Alright.
Oh my god, you're gonna flash this thing in its eyes. It's hilarious. I want you to succeed, but it might not.
Nope.
Oh. So you flash your laser pointer in its eyes, and it just seems to get more pissed off, and a brackish green smoke begins to emit from its posterior. We'll say the leftmost one. Okay, Tom, your turn.
I have an idea.
Okay,
You're
I
gonna
love
have-
ideas.
You're gonna have to work with me on this. I have
Best of
study
the self.
coalition.
What? You're joking.
Study coalition. Could I possibly use that to say over the radio to coordinate a tactic that the coalition could use to corner something?
Yes. What's your percentage at?
78.
Make it 68. I'm gonna make it harder by 10 because you know what? I don't think the coalition was in this particular situation, but some tactics are transferable. Yes, but yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And oh yeah, I would understand this really quickly. I failed by 12. Son of a bitch.
Can I please say that when Tom says this is what the coalition does, Al gets on the radio and be like, no, that's not what the coalition does.
Yes, go ahead and do that.
Ruins it. Is that okay?
And
Does
we,
that work?
yeah, go ahead. And we can have an argument about it.
These
You know
fucking
what? Flip
cockroaches
over
are
back to
freaking
our
out.
channel, and we just have an argument.
It's like, Tom, that tactic is used for people that are half your size.
But the fundamentals are the same. Okay. So right now we got 2 failures and 1 success. You need 3 successes before 5 failures. Okay, Patrick. I mean, Al, it's back to you. I love this. I like his interpretation of these skills, though. I love it. Once again, you can do something that you did before with the Beatles. So
Sure.
don't feel about
How
don't feel
about
bad.
a demolition skill to set up charges, some maybe pollen explosives, things to kind of explode it to either draw its attention or corral it or ward it away. Basically, just set up
it.
exactly.
Okay, yeah. Roll. No penalties. That's a success. So you set up some charges down one of the already blasted hallways, and when one of the cockroaches kind of scurries around to try to flank you, you detonate it and force it back corral down the main hallway, where on the other end of the hallway you have set up one of these crates, these cages. So that's your success. So you only need 1 more success before 3 more failures. So Patrick, back to you.
Alright, I need to know this. We're working with those other guys, right? So they're with us?
Mm-hmm.
So
You have a team of about 20 freebooters.
So I cannot
Yeah,
use
with
that.
Oh, you want to use magic? Well, you know what? This is all just narrative, so we can say that they're not around conveniently for this skill check.
Alright.
I mean, come on, we're just making it up as we go along, so it's cool.
Well, this worked last time. Why not try it again with Horrific Illusion?
Great. I'm gonna give them an 80. I'm gonna give you an 85% chance of success with that.
Alright. I'm gonna use my PPE. See, the reason why is because it has a radius of effect, and it affects everybody in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't just do that in the middle of people.
Yeah, no, don't worry. They're not around for this part.
Hey!
Success. So, as the beetle that got spooked from Al's explosives goes down the hallway. It falters for a little bit before you spook it again with a horrific illusion of a giant yellow flower, the same illusion before, and it's enough to have it go racing down the hall. Now, Owl's at the end of the hall, unfortunately. He's between a rock and a hard place. He's right in front of the cage, but this thing is just charging towards him at a lightning fast speed. But thankfully, at the last moment, he backflips out of the way, hugs against the wall, and with a slam and a bang, the cockroach hits the cage, and the door slams shuts behind it. You have one. Now here's for the other one. That's freaking out. There's yellow gas everywhere. It's retreated into the big room with all the cockroach corpses in it. And now it's back up to you guys. So that was Patrick. So let's move it to Burn now. This is the last guy. Then you've gotten your 6.
Yep. I think I'll go for Prowl again.
Okay.
I honestly
Okay.
can't think of anything other than maybe
Don't.
navigation or read sensory equipment that would even be close to this. Unless I
Go
can
ahead,
use
do-
my Fire Eruption.
Yes, of course. Like I said, you can use spells and abilities, or psionics in this case,
Oh,
and I'll give it a percentage. Yeah.
yeah, dude. Fire Eruption. Ba-boom.
How do you want to use it?
I want it to corral them because I
Okay.
can make the area 65 feet by 65 feet in whatever shape and dimensions I want.
Okay, so this is pretty darn good. So why don't you know what? Your success will be the same percentage it is to make sure you get it right on the dot where you need it. Okay.
Okay.
So
It's an 80%.
Yep.
I succeed by
Perfect.
9.
you do. So so it goes into that room with all the corpses, and of course this is when the team comes in. They move in to extract the full cage and bring in an empty one and place it back down at the end of the hallway, and you're able to use your flame powers, your pyrokinesis, to not only keep the cockroach at bay, but also when the time is right, open up the flames and corral it back into the hallway where it's a little bit more easier contained. So good job. So Al, your turn.
I just thought of something really cool we could have done, but that's not really a skill challenge. So let's see here.
What's the idea? I can.
Okay, the overall idea: use carpet of adhesion to hold it in place. Put
Uh-huh.
something underneath the cage, cast fly on it, and just move the cage to the beetle.
So
God.
what's to stop you from casting carpet of adhesion and then Patrick from casting fly?
Nothing, I suppose.
There is a
Except
thing.
Uh-huh. All the people around.
No. The cage being made out of metal.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
that's
the
why I
cage.
said we got to put something under the cage because, and I guess this is part of the GM interpretation. Let's say I put a rug or something under the cage and cast fly on that. Could that lift up the cage?
Sure, of course. It has a weight limit, but I have to double check that. But do you have a carpet?
Well, no, but we can find something.
Yeah.
You can't do metal or plastic.
Yeah.
So
A lot of the environment is metal or plastic, but not everything.
Yeah.
There's leaves. There's big ass leaves on a lot of the vegetation outside. You know what? While we ponder that, I'm gonna quickly look up fly and see if it has a weight limit. I'll be
Do
right
it.
back. Fly.
we could just lash some like trees together.
Lash some trees together. It's bulletproof.
We'd have to find some dead trees.
It can. Let's see here. Maximum length. Oh my God. This maximum size. It has no weight.
Yeah.
Just space.
It's very much just like it's flying around, it just needs to kind of balance on it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what the skill challenge, that's what the percentage roll will emulate. Okay.
Okay, would it be fair to say that if we came up with this idea before we went hunting to bring a tarp or something to place under the cage?
Okay, here's the only tricky thing about this, and this requires some creativity, all right? In orbit, there is no wood, right? It is mostly metal and synthesized plastics, right? So I'm wondering what could be on the ships that is big enough, like tarp is made out of hemp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now hemp is a plant, but all the food that is everything that's made is to be eaten, and you can eat hemp, but you'll have a groovy time. So unfortunately, I don't think a tarp will work. Let me think what else could be big and spacious enough that isn't made of plastic ore. Well, we can start spitballing some stuff here real quick.
If there's any fallen trees outside, that might work.
Yeah. There would be. Yeah, there's definitely fallen trees. In fact, remember, the entrance to the broken area of this little terrarium area had a few fallen trees on it and some rotten logs.
Okay.
So if you guys had this plan ahead of time, there's nothing to stop you from using even your vibroblades to cut them up, make some planks, right? It'd be pretty crude, but it'd be feasible. So yeah, I'm gonna allow it. I'm gonna allow it. It's gonna be the equivalent of almost kind of like a raft or something like that, a fucked up weird raft, right?
Then I just cast carpet of adhesion, just keep it there, and then slowly move the cage.
Yes. Okay. So there's gonna be an 80% chance of success on that, and then the 70% chance of the success on the fly, because the cage might tip over.
Okay. So I'll do the carpet.
Yeah, that's 80.
Succeed.
That's a success. All right, Patrick. Roll me. What did I say?
70.
Yeah,
I got it. Yay!
No. So what happens? What happens is that you're able. The plans are so good, right? So you have the carpet of adhesion. The crate is completely stuck on it, right? So now it's up to Patrick to have this thing float over towards, or fly on over to the cockroach, right? And descend upon it, right? Well, the problem is that the balance of the weight of the cage itself and the raft that it's on, as he goes to tilt it, it tilts too much, and it swings and it hits the ground with a large bang, enough to scare the cockroach away from this thing, and it once again hides into the room with all the corpses, because I'm going to assume at this point the fire's gone.
Oh.
Because I say it is. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was gonna say I had another idea then, since if we still have the carpet of adhesion working.
Yeah, it didn't stop working.
We then use the fact that it's immobile to surround it with pollen emitters, and the only way out is into the cage.
Okay.
Dude.
So it'll take some time to do. I'll make it a 90% chance of success. You could always fuck it up.
Tom?
Yeah.
I believe it's your
I
turn.
will roll it. 90%. I succeed.
No, but you don't fuck it up. You're able to use this distraction. You take off the pollen emitters, or you bring in some extra ones. You lay them around, and you force it one way or another to exit that room and get into that fucking cage. And it takes a while. It takes like 4 hours for this stupid thing to come out. In fact, it takes so long that one of the team members has to bring in oxygen refills for your body armor and or power armor. But you're able to do that. That's no problem. Because you wait for it, and eventually it slinks into the cage because it realizes it has no other option. And it closes. And success. So you have 2 flies, 2 fly mutants, 2 beetle mutants, and 2 cockroach mutants in your cargo hold. And I think this is a perfect time to end. I'm going to end only with one question to help me prepare for next session. Okay? Are you guys going to want to contact Tyrath while you're still in or around Mars, or very early on your journey back? Or are you going to wait till you get back to Earth's orbit to contact Tyrath? One thing to keep in mind is feeding these things. Now, you think you have enough vegetation to and thanks to Patrick's hydroponics lab, right, to grow some of this stuff. But he'll have to completely focus on growing the food, and he won't be able to do any additional research, like on that red carpet plant that you got from Johanna, right? Or like that will fully occupy there. Or you can decide to contact Tyrath. Now that there's no cameras, I just realized that that's even more feasible now. God, can you imagine Tyrath showed up with no cameras?
Oh my
That's what I was
that'd be
worried
that
about.
confusing.
Like
Yeah.
when I heard about the cameras, like, getting Tyrath here? You kidding me? You want to show him the thing? No, no. I'll go on.
So what do you guys think? What would you rather do?
I would want to contact Tyrath as soon as possible, if for no other reason. We have giant killer bugs.
See, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. 4 months is a long time. Things can go wrong.
Get him his prize ASAP, and then just say, "You can grant us our boon when we get back."
Which is
Yeah,
like
that sounds
a
good.
few minutes for him.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. That's great. All right, great. Then I have plenty. Then that's okay. Great. Awesome. Oh, we can stop the stream. We can stop the session. This is all fantastic.
Well, thank you all for watching then.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
have a good
Yeah,
night.
you betcha. Thank you, Margie. Thanks for watching.
Say
Bye-bye.
goodbye, Squee. Stop being muted and say goodbye.
I am totally muted. I said bye bye now. Bye bye.
Okay. Yay.